the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T.
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh yeah, the key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text EQUAL to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text EQUAL to 321-321. That's EQUAL to 321-321.
We expect our information in real time. U.S. Med carries continuous glucose monitors, which provide real-time readings of blood glucose levels. U.S. Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 500 private insurers. So call 888-665-0696 today for a free insurance and Medicare benefits check as easy as... That's 888-665-0696.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
Oh, it's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit GetEthos.com. That's GetEthos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
It's time for Sedano and Kap.
A little sabor, and we're going to just nosh.
It is George Sedano. It is Scott Kaplan. Sedano and Kap is on.
I'm going to have to say respectfully, I'm going to disagree.
Okay, why is that?
I don't know.
The LA Afternoon Drive takeover.
He likes to lay the wood.
Yeah. You say Kikuchi.
Wacky forced radio stunt of the year. Ha-ha!
Christopher can go to hell.
Oh, nothing worse than the horse. Nah, man, black don't crack.
Benjamin Pratt is like, how do you say his name? Asminger?
Asminger. Hey, these Hard Knocks guys are all over me right now. It's like I'm in back in Dayton. You are a bit killer.
Because you got to talk about sperm?
Here we go.
You don't know. You don't know. And you know why you don't know? Because you're gutless, Andy. You're gutless.
Sedano and Kap.
God, I'm going to melt you.
Beep-ba-da-boop. Ba-doo-da-da-da. You're gutless, Andy. Beep-ba-da-boop.
I love being a part of that open. It's very exciting.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people in that open.
It is a cast of thousands.
But it really goes to show you what it is we value around here, is family.
Yes.
Come on,
Sedano
Andy.
and Kap show.
Come on, Andy.
Come on, Andy.
That was the best.
How are you, sir?
Doing well, man. Doing well.
Yeah. By the way, I feel like you, of anyone that I could have done the show with today, is probably most inclined to be able to have a real conversation about Gene Hackman and his passing. And I know we'll talk sports. There's no question about that. And we will do it right away. But Gene Hackman, to me, like, I can't remember being a moment of my life where Gene Hackman wasn't in a movie that I watched, like at any point as far back as I can remember.
We just spent like 30 minutes talking about it in my office. You missed it.
Yeah, I mean, his first Oscar nomination was in the 60s.
Crazy.
And he had a career that really blew up in the 70s, but he was a fixture in the 80s, fixture in the 90s. He had, before Morgan Freeman, that role where he'd be the guy that was brought in to work with the younger actors. He worked with Tom Cruise, worked with, at the time, Denzel. He was always great at everything. I mean, like, that's why I tweeted out about him. My all-time favorite actor, and among the very best we've ever seen, Gene Hackman could play any character for any occasion: drama, comedy, darkness, sadness, silliness, the hero, the villain, the weirdo, and everything in between. The man was a gift to movies.
What was the first movie you remember seeing him in, like, as a kid?
Probably Superman.
Same. Yeah.
Because he was Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor.
And, and he managed to pull off this thing where Lex Luthor was simultaneously, like, super smart, but also kind of a bumbling buffoon.
Yeah.
But he had a charisma. Like,
correct.
That's not easy
Diabolical, yet also charming in the same vein.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, like, Hackman could do anything. He was just an incredible actor with a really interesting backstory. He joined the Marines when he was 16. Like, he lied about his age, and it took him a while to really get going as an actor. At one point, when he was struggling, he and Dustin Hoffman and Robert Duvall were roommates together.
Yeah, I heard you say that earlier. That's wild.
Yeah, and he really is my all-time favorite actor, man. And he was incredible. He was just an incredible screen presence.
95 years old, man. God bless him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know. And it's funny. He hasn't been acting for a long time. He retired.
What was the last movie he did?
It's a bad movie with Ray Romano called Welcome to Mooseport. It's not.
Don't even know. Yeah.
If I remember correct, it's supposed to be like a political satire, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was so good. He was just so good in just about everything he ever did.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Superman for sure was the first. I loved Royal Tenenbaums. That was also one of my favorites.
He's so good in that. He is so funny.
And that movie's not for everybody, but it was for me for sure.
It is. It's so funny. I just recently, like maybe a couple months ago, rewatched The French Connection. I hadn't seen it in maybe 4 or 5 years. It's a great movie. It was what he won his first Oscar for, and he was fantastic in it. The Crimson Tide, Unforgiven.
Yeah, Crimson Tide. So somebody was posted that, and that thing was flying all around him. That scene with him and Denzel I have the con.
Now shut the F up, yelling that at Denzel. There's a great movie he did. It might be my favorite performance of his. It's called The Conversation. It's from '74. It's a Coppola movie. You want to talk about a guy just having an incredible year? It came out the same year as The Godfather 2, and they both ended up nominated for Best Picture. Godfather 2 won, but Hackman plays this surveillance expert. He's considered like the best in the country.
Yeah.
Who ends up, he never does this, but he listens to what he's recording, and he overhears these people talk about if they ever hear about this, they'll kill us. And he starts having this like paranoid crisis of conscience. Do I turn over these tapes? And then he starts getting paranoid about being bugged himself. And like the ending is just disturbing paranoia. It's a great, great movie.
By the way, he was excellent in this movie, but here's a hot take. Okay. He was excellent in every movie basically that he did. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But Hoosiers, completely overrated.
It's not an overrated Hackman performance.
No. He was excellent. Come on. Oh, Chippy, whatever his name is. Like, get out of here with that.
It is an enjoyable movie. I agree with you that it is overrated.
It's like to me, it's like watching Rudy. Like I just roll my eyes watching it.
You know what? To me, my least favorite part of Hoosiers is anything on the court, like the stuff with Hackman coming into town, or the stuff between him and Dennis Hopper. That's all fantastic. The actual basketball is, it's all right.
You know what? Give me what was the one with Nick Nolte that was terrible with Shaq, but also hilarious?
Oh, Blue Chips.
Blue Chips, yeah.
Oh,
which,
Blue
by
Chips
the way,
hilarious.
I mean, Blue Chips is basically that was all the stuff that you couldn't do back then, but it's all basically like above board now.
I know, you know what I mean? There will be kids who were raised in the NIL era that if they put on Blue Chips, they'd be like,
"What's the problem?"
Why does Nolte have to hide any of this? I don't get it.
Yeah, Neon Bedeau.
Yeah, just give Neon the money. What's the problem? You can give him whatever he wants.
You know what's also a really good, like low-key, funny, fun Hackman movie? The Replacements.
That's not one of my favorites. I know a lot of people like it. It's not. It's.
It's one of those that if it's on TV, I'm stopping on it for a few minutes because there's always funny scenes in it.
Yeah, it's goofy fun. Get Shorty, he's hilarious. Birdcage, he's really really funny.
Yeah,
like Mississippi Burning, that movie he just goes scorched earth. Like, he was just.
That was a great movie. Yeah,
he was just absolutely amazing, man.
So I'm looking at it here. After Royal Tenenbaums, only 3 movies, including what you said, Welcome to Mooseport in 2004.
I'm trying to think. After Tenenbaums?
It was Behind Enemy Lines.
I have not seen that, actually.
Yeah, that was like a pilot movie, I want to say. And then there was another one called Runaway Jury that apparently looks like it's got decent ratings.
Yeah, it's a Grisham movie.
I didn't see that.
I think John Cusack, and I think Dustin Hoffman's in it, too.
Yeah. I didn't see it. Yeah, Rachel Weisz, John Cusack. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I have seen it, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, Tenenbaums though. I may watch that tonight, to be honest with you.
Oh God, it's that scene when he runs down his ex-wife Angelica Houston. He's like, "I'm dying, baby," and she starts kidding him, saying, "I'm not dying," and she starts freaking out. I am dying. It's so funny.
Yeah, the dog thing too at the end.
Oh, actually, that scene between him and Danny Glover.
Yeah.
When he's like, did you call me Coltrane?
Damn shame what happened to that dog.
Did you call me Coltrane?
Yeah. All right. So anyway, now that we've eulogized Gene Hackman and his greatness, speaking of greatness, how great can the Lakers be is the question. So yesterday, Cappy and I were talking about this a little bit, and the Lakers, Andy, have according to ESPN Analytics, the second best percentage chance to make the NBA Finals out of the Western Conference. Now, the Thunder have the overwhelming highest percentage.
As they should.
Chance. Right. 58.2. Lakers at 12.5. Nuggets at 8.6. And then I'd have to go back because, Lindsay, it looks like you cut off what we had yesterday, but it's fine.
I just put the top 3.
Yeah, that's fine. But there was a couple more that were pretty, within striking distance. That's why. But it's okay. I've got it here. But yeah, so it's Thunder, Lakers, Nuggets. Grizzlies also 8.2, so very close to the Nuggets. Rockets 5.3, Warriors 3.1, Clippers 1.9.
Feels high.
You know what's funny is that they're going to play the Clippers tomorrow, and I know they have Ant-Man today. But, and look, the Timberwolves are reeling right now injury-wise. They've played really well despite that recently. But I don't know, what we're going to see from Minnesota today from an injury perspective. Is Rudy Gobert going to play? Is he not going to play? Randall's not close to being back yet. Neither is DiVincenzo. They're still a ways away. And everybody's just keying in on Anthony Edwards and just trying to let all the other guys beat them, which is what I would do. But I am genuinely curious to see what that Friday-Sunday situation looks like with the Clippers, because Ty Lue doesn't love the Lakers.
Oh?
I mean, if you haven't heard, newsflash.
He's still pissed off about that cake.
Yeah, still annoyed about the cake. And he's a very good coach. So I could see him throwing a little wrinkle their way is what I would say.
Have you seen you were talking before about the Timberwolves injury situation. Have you seen the latest, at least as far as what I'm looking at right now? Gobert officially out, Randall officially out, Edwards questionable, DiVincenzo questionable. So
yeah, DiVincenzo, I don't expect him to be ready yet.
Well, yeah,
because I think Julius is ahead of him in regard to my knowledge. I mean, I just had them the other night, and they said both are around the same timeline, but we were told Julius was a little bit ahead.
I mean, that's a lot of dudes missing,
right?
That's a big chunk of the roster.
Yeah. So I am genuinely curious to see. But how do you let's tackle this on the other side? How do you view the Lakers' chances of coming out of the West? Let's do that. By the way, it's a Live Nation Ticket Thursday on 710 ESPN. Listen all day here for your cue to call. You can be caller number 7 at 877-710-ESPN. Not right now, when you hear the cue to call. To win 2 tickets to Neil Young at the Hollywood Bowl on September 15th. Tickets on sale tomorrow at Ticketmaster.com. So we'll get into that. I want to get into this whole Stafford thing because now there's another layer to this saga. So we'll get to all that coming up. Trudell's going to be in the house from 4 to 5 to join us, Andy. So lots coming up here. Sedano and Kap. A-Cam in the house, 710 ESPN.
Travis Rogers and DeMarco Farr.
Back tomorrow at 9 a.m. after Clinton and Friends.
Just watching JJ, I don't think he is so inexperienced that you can mess this up.
Oh, sure he can. I don't think he will because I think he's really good at it. But that's one of the most dangerous things for anybody. If you don't know what you don't know, if you've never been through it before, you can get coached up. You can say, hey, somebody that's been, they watch up. But the first time you go through something, it's the first time you go through something.
Remember, he's got LeBron. That's what I'm saying. I mean, he's of any coach that's ever started their career, I think he might have the most help. LeBron is there. When LeBron walked out, all nonsense stopped. That's something JJ doesn't have to worry about.
JJ Redick is the right man for the job.
Yes.
I have no reservations about that.
Look at the card, dial up right play. Give it.
He is the right man for the job, and he has done an extraordinary job.
Weekday mornings at 9 a.m.
It's Travis and DeMarco
on 710 ESPN.
Accident or injury, call Jacob and Ronnie. Call Jacob.
Hey guys, what's up? It's George Sedano. Waiting is never fun. Usually nothing good happens when you wait. My friend Jacob in the law offices of Jacob and Ronnie want to make sure you don't wait after an accident. Immediately after an accident, before talking to the insurance company, call Jacob, man. Jacob and his team will do all the work, make all the phone calls, handle the paperwork, set up the doctor's appointments, whatever the case may be. And when you speak to the insurance company first, it's a big mistake. because you know why? They may later use your words against you. However, Jacob and his team, they'll guide you through the process, get you the compensation you deserve, and you don't have to pay Jacob unless he wins. Nothing out of pocket. Free. Gratis. So if you're injured in an accident, the first name, the first thought, the first call should be Jacob. Jacob, Jacob, Jacob. The consultation is free. That's right. Free. I told you. Gratis. Don't wait. Call Jacob 24 hours a day at 844-24-JACOB. That's 844-24-JACOB. Call him 844-24-JACOB or visit him online at calljacob.com.
Call Jacob.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-494-6139. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-494-6139.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Sedano and Kap for your afternoon drive.
Take a look at me. I feel like your fat is less visceral.
Oh, really?
The LA Afternoon Takeover rolls on right now.
Oh, come on now. Want no scrubs? Is it a anniversary of some sort? Is it a birthday? What do we got here today? Lindsay, DeAndre.
I thought Lindsay was going to answer. I believe.
Well, I'll look on the paper here.
I'm trying to scroll there. I wasn't there. That's why. It looks like we have a birthday.
It's Chili's birthday.
Chili's birthday.
54.
54.
Yeah.
Still
Now,
beautiful.
I never realized she was older than me.
Yeah. Really?
No, I did not know that.
We have some good birthdays here. We have Tony Gonzalez, 49 years old. Kate Mara, the actress, also the daughter of the Giants owner. Elizabeth Taylor, posthumously. And then Bobby. Who's Bobby V?
Who is Bobby V?
Oh, we talked about him recently.
Bobby Valentino.
Yeah.
Oh. I was
Things
I thought I'm thinking like Bobby Valentine.
So was I. I was like, there's no way that.
Yeah. Or like Bob Valvano. You know what I mean?
Oh, so you guys weren't here that day. Clinton was in.
Okay.
And I think it was Clinton and Beto, actually.
No, I know Bobby Valentino, but yeah.
I don't even know who Bobby Valentino is. When I saw Bobby V, I'm like, is this a Jersey Shore
That's what he goes by. That's what he's been going by.
I'll play a Bobby Valentino song for you, and you'll recognize his voice.
Who or what is Bobby V? Who is he?
He sings a song that's called, Slow Down, I Just Want to Get to Know Ya. He sings a couple. He's like an R&B singer.
Interesting.
You never heard of him, George?
I have heard of him, yes, but I did not know him as Bobby V.
Yeah,
my Bobby V is Bobby Valentine or
Bob Valvano.
Bob Valvano, of course, yes.
Yeah,
ESPN radio fame.
I think he's a little bit older, but he's been going by that for like a good 20 years.
Yeah. Also, I saw today is National Kahlua Day. I don't love Kahlua. I don't know if anyone else does. Yeah. I mean, it's not my thing. I have had it, you know what I mean? But it's just not my favorite.
The only thing I ever now think of when I hear Kahlua is the dude in The Big Lebowski. Because he likes to drink, as he puts it, Caucasians, the White Russians.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like anyone who likes a White Russian, but not my kind of thing. Like, I'm not like a super sweet.
I'll put it this
drinker.
way: I bartended for many years. I can count the amount of times I made anything with Kahlua on probably one hand.
Right?
Like it
just sits on the bar forever. I'm sure
you have to have it just in case. But that one bottle will last you a couple years.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Let's talk basketball here. How do you think the Lakers, what do the Lakers got to do? How do the Lakers get out of the West? Like, what needs to happen? Because I feel a lot of this is matchup based, right? And I think that despite beating Jokic the other day, I still wouldn't love to see him early in the postseason. I'd like to find a way to try to avoid that particular matchup to as late as humanly possible. Anyone else, I feel like okay about. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like super worried about. But I don't want to see the Thunder super early either. But I don't think you'd have to see them early. Although technically, I guess you'd see them in the second round, right?
Quite possibly if they stayed at the 4 seed.
Yeah. So I'd like to. I mean, if the Lakers could get up to that 2-3 range, that would make life easier.
I mean, it's an interesting question, George, because in all honesty, none of us really know at all because the sample size is so tiny.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think Luka has raised both the floor and the ceiling of the team. Like before, like I always thought that pre-Luka, like LeBron and AD, that team, I'm like, they're a playoff team. They could win a couple rounds, but it's going to be hard. Like the work is going to be really hard. And as LeBron and AD and JJ used to talk about, like the margin for error was tiny. This group now has a higher margin for error because of just how great Luka is. And LeBron, AD, and Austin together running an offense, that is going to be brutal to try to stop.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. I actually feel like that not only is it raising the floor, we've talked about this, just not with you, Andy. I just feel like LeBron has been freed up to do so much more.
Yeah.
Both on offense, but also on defense, too, I believe.
He said before that Luka energizes him, and I have to imagine one of the ways is it's something brand new for him. Like he's talked about, like the mental challenge of getting up for game to game to game over 82 games, season 22, age 40. Like after a while, I don't care how much you love basketball, it can be difficult when you've done and accomplished basically everything. Luka's brand new for him, and Luka frees him up to do other like the defense that LeBron's now playing. And it started pre-Luka, but he has more energy now to do that because Luka can make life for him easier in ways that AD, as great as he was, can't.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny because LeBron, in some ways, has kind of looked like AD at times, like in the paint, like just getting like easy lob passes to him to just finish right at the rim, whether it's a dunk or a layup or whatever. And it is fascinating because we haven't seen LeBron play in the paint as much with the Lakers as he did in Cleveland or Miami, for sure. So it is fascinating to see that part of his game because I think that's where I think he's the most dangerous.
Yeah.
Especially as he gets older. People may remember, like, after he lost, to Dallas in that first finals when he left Cleveland, that's when he really became a good post player because he, after, like, spending 3 weeks in the darkness, as he called it, he went and just trained with Akeem and learned to play in the post. And after that, that offense got unlocked because you couldn't defend him once he was able to get into the mid post or the post because he unlocked so much stuff, the cutting, the different opportunities for him just to face, back somebody down or even face someone up as close to the basket as he could. So I just think it just makes life so much easier for him closer to the basket.
The thing that I think is going to be really interesting to watch is the defense. And like the sample size that we've seen of them playing this well defensively, it's big enough now that
it's 6 weeks, right?
Right.
Almost.
I am willing to declare it real, but it is exhausting. Like the style, and it reminds me in some ways of the way the Heat used to play defense.
Right, when Bosh was the center and Shane Battier and LeBron were playing 3 or 4.
Right, like it's taxing.
Yeah.
So can they maintain this for another couple months and then for however long they're in the playoffs? That, to me, is the really interesting question because it will grind you down. But that being said, like, do I think this is real? And, like, the way they're playing defense?
Yes.
The answer is yes because they have been beating teams with Jokic, Karl Anthony Towns, Zubats. They've been doing it the same way every time. Like, the way they are guarding big men while only really having Jackson Hayes as a center they feel totally comfortable with, they're doing it the same way every time. So clearly they've found a way that works. But again, it's taxing. Can they keep it up?
For sure. Right. Everybody's got to be moving. There's always the cliche, everyone on a string, right? But it is the truth now. When you don't have the traditional size, there is no other way to describe it. Because if you remember when they were guarding Jokic, I mean, there was like 3 guys within arm's length of him, basically, the entire game.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, it's not going to be easy, I think, just from a stamina perspective to maintain this for the next few months. But the good news is these guys seem up for it. And I think it's because they know it works, and they are now seeing like the upside. Like they're now, I think, really feeling like, no, really, we can do something. Like before, I think they thought maybe they were capable of it, but they're like, it's going to be so hard. Like maybe we can do it.
No, yeah, for sure. I think you've nailed it. Like it's absolutely, can they just withstand the punishment that it's going to take and toll on that's going to take on their bodies to play this style basically from here potentially to June.
It's going to be really, really difficult, but they know it works. And then in the meantime, like the offense, when you got three guys who can handle the ball and play make at the level of Luka, LeBron, and to a lesser but I think still real degree, Austin, the offense is going to become like incrementally way easier. So you end up spending less of that reservoir offensively, and you can devote it more defensively. I mean, I think that's a big reason that LeBron, especially moving forward, is going to be able to do this. He does not need to work nearly as hard
no doubt. I mean, the game is we were joking the other day. I mean, he can end up being Tom Brady. He may be able to play to 45 if he wants, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if that's truly what he wants.
No.
But you're right. This unlocks the possibility. And I think that's also what's exciting to LeBron, just the idea of knowing what the path is for this team, because the LeBron AD thing, I think in a lot of ways had kind of run its course. Like, I don't think LeBron and AD still play really well off each other, but I don't think they were as easy to build around as they used to be. LeBron and Luka are so kind of positionless in their own right. They're easier to build around.
Yeah.
I think.
And it's funny because I'm looking at it here. So LeBron and Luka could be free agents at the same time. LeBron has a player option next year, which I would imagine he'll opt into at $52.6 million. But Luka's going to opt out no matter what after the 26th season, after next year, because there's no way he's not going to opt out after, I think his player option is like $48 million when guys, you got Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum making 60. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not going to happen. So you could potentially have both of them be up at the same exact time.
What a glorious time for us, George, in a couple years to be just milking that drama for all it's worth.
Right. Yeah. So next year, all we're doing is that, just basically that.
Yeah. We're giving people right now a preview of the summer of 2026. Nothing but that all day, every day.
Hey, coming up next, let's get into the Matthew Stafford drama. There's a new layer to it, I guess. But first, if you're a Lakers fan, the Lakers, BBGO, and ESPN LA are teaming up to find the Lakers Gafote, greatest fan of all time. If you're the Gafote, well, go to the website, LakersGafote.com. That's LakersGafote.com. You can learn how to submit your entry there. And if you win, you could win courtside seats, a year's supply of BBGO, Lakers gear, all sorts of stuff. But go to LakersGafote.com. That's LakersGafote.com to learn how to submit your entry.
The biggest show on the radio.
Mason and Ireland, weekdays at noon.
It's important for Laker fans to understand this. If you listen to any national NBA expert, they will tell you the Lakers are not competing for a title this year. They will say that the Lakers are a year away. They've got to go through an offseason and go get a big man. They give the Lakers zero chance. I'm telling you, and I'm around these guys all the time. The players and the coaching staff absolutely don't believe that, and it is fueling them. If you put JJ Redick on a lie detector and you asked him, can you run through the West and go back to the NBA Finals and win a championship this year, he would say absolutely, and he would pass.
Steve Mason and John Ireland, tomorrow at noon.
Mason and Ireland on 710 ESPN.
So Mark Real from Real Fathers writes, I always say on the air, you have to have the right family law firm that is going to get you the happiness you deserve and the justice you deserve.
Really, the legal system is designed and set up for fathers to fail. I set out to create a firm and to create something that would help all men navigate that successfully.
We have a new phone number for Real Fathers Rights.
833-ESPN-710.
And RFR710.com.
Yes, RFR710.com.
ESPN LA and BBGO are going on a quest for the Lakers Gafote. No. Not the GOAT. The Gafote. the greatest Lakers fan of all time. Think it's you? Upload your pic or video to Facebook, Instagram, X, or TikTok, and tell us your favorite Lakers memory. Use hashtag LakersGoFote, GFOAT, and hashtag promotion, and follow at ESPN Los Angeles. The Lakers Gofote is going to be rewarded with courtside seats, a VIP private tour of the Lakers UCLA Health Training Center, a year's supply of BBGO, and more. The Lakers Gofote. Is it you?
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit VividSeats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Empower. Jen has ordered a decadent seafood tower, king crab legs, lobster tails, and a waterfall of caviar. Pricey? You bet. But Jen worked with Empower on her savings and investment strategy and planned for splurges like these. She got good at money, so she can be a little bad. Ooh, champagne. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
Past performance is not indicative of future returns. Investing involves risk. You may lose money. Advisory services are provided for a fee by Empower Advisory Group, LLC, EAG, a registered investment advisor with the Securities and Exchange Commission. OMG, those shrimps are really jumbo.
It's the LA Afternoon Takeover on 710 ESPN.
Man, I hate when my brain is right and my heart is wrong.
It was so close to having your brain wrong and your heart right, too.
Oh, it would have been so much fun if that were the case.
More Sedano and Kap right now.
This is Bobby V.
There's Bobby V.
That's Bobby V. Yeah, you know Bobby V.
Apparently,
I knew him as Bobby Valentino. It's like some people shorten their name a little bit. You know what I mean? Prince went from Prince to the symbol. You know.
Never heard of him called Bobby Valentino before.
I've never heard him called anything. I have no idea.
You've never heard of him, period.
I have no idea who this guy is.
You're a regular Cappy over here. Who's that guy?
You don't know nothing about no Bobby V, DeAndre.
Come on, Andy.
Yeah, I remember him only as Bobby Valentino, but I don't remember him as I've never heard of him as Bobby V.
Again, I thought Bobby V to me sounds like a Jersey Shore character.
Yeah, right, for sure. Yeah, like the Situation's cousin or something. You know,
he was there for one season, didn't test well with the audiences. They got rid of him,
and then they got rid of him. Right, Snooki didn't like him. You know.
Oh man.
So that's just how it goes. Hey, real quick. So let's kind of go backwards here with this stuff with Matthew Stafford. Earlier in the week, Sean McVay was on with Andrew Whitworth on his podcast, okay? And they asked him straight up about about what's going on with Stafford. What is how are they expecting to handle this? And he laid it out as honestly as humanly possible. So let's hear that first.
When you talk about the elephant in the room, these are the things that are really challenging because there's no discrepancy on us wanting him to continue to lead the way and be our quarterback. The interesting and the challenging dilemma and dynamics within this are, hey, how do you continuously as a head coach look at the short term and the long term and be able to figure out what does that really look like? There's no dispute, and let's not get it twisted in regards to anybody wanting him to be our quarterback. Now, there's layers to it. And as you try to put together the puzzle for your football team, you have to be able to say, hey, how do we continuously build? How do we support him? How do we make sure that he's getting, what is his worth relative to those things? And so, at the end of the day, we had something in mind, he had something in mind, and nobody was right or wrong. And then ultimately you're saying, hey, there's a ton of interest because this guy's an incredible player. And we've had conversations where he could probably play however much longer he wants, but it's been on a year to year in terms of our dialogue. Is that one? Is that two? Only he can answer that. But there does have to be an element of understanding, well, what does that future look like without this freaking G that's been our quarterback for the last 4 years? And there's no right or wrong way to go about it. But I do think for us to be able to make the most educated decision in terms of, all right, the cash budget that we operate on, the draft comp that you would get in return, you just need to be able to have all the parameters to at least explore it. And I think the most important thing that's reported out there is when we had these conversations prior to the Super Bowl, I think the important thing was let's be clear, open, and honest. And this isn't that we're trying to be able to figure out, what is the next right move, but let's at least have all the parameters relative to you and Jimmy Sexton being able to talk to teams that have called on you. Don't want to have to do anything in secret. Want to make sure that we're all abreast of the situation, even though the first goal in mind is to have you come back here as the quarterback. But that's where we're really trying to measure all those things. He and I have had great dialogue throughout this process. I know where we want it to be able to end up, but these decisions aren't made in a vacuum, and that's kind of the challenging part about it. But love this guy, and he's been incredible for us.
I mean, that's some pretty real detail there, Andy. Like, you don't hear head coaches in any sport, okay? Hell, you don't even hear high school coaches go into that kind of detail about issues with players or whatever could be transpiring with a player. And Sean laid it out as well as you could lay it out.
That, to me, sounds like Sean McVay almost talking himself through in real time, like the grieving stages for his expectation that they're not going to meet a number for Matthew Stafford and he's going to be gone. That's what it sounded like to me.
Yeah, so sure, I could see it that way. I just kind of see it. I see it a little differently. I see it where it's like, hey, we have a number in mind, and this is the number that works for us. If it doesn't work for him, that's cool. That's why we're letting him kind of seek the ability to go see if he can get to that number. And if he can't, then we should figure out how to collaborate because we feel like we give him the best chance to win. But if money is the most important thing, that's probably not going to be here.
It absolutely won't be here. I mean, first of all, for him to go somewhere like the Raiders or especially the Giants.
I mean, the Giants are a complete unmitigated nightmare.
If it ain't the money, what the hell else would bring him over there? You know what I mean? Like the money has to be, I think, dramatically different to even make it worth Matthew Stafford's while. And look, I'm not going to tell him not to chase dollars. He can do whatever he wants. Were I him in his position at his age, like knowing it's harder now to get up for an NFL season, I would not want to do that for a team that isn't very good. I just wouldn't. Again, if that's what he wants, go do your thing. But when you've already banked, I think somewhere between 350 and 400 million minimum, were I him, I would take still pretty stupid good money for a better situation than what I think the Raiders and definitely the Giants would offer. But again, it's up to him.
Yeah. Look, I get it's a tough spot, right? It's your last payday if you're him, right? Fair to say?
Oh, definitely.
Right. So if I were going to pick between bad teams, and this is going to sound insane, okay? Especially coming from me. I think I would consider the Raiders.
Oh, 100%.
Over the Giants? 100%. Because at least Brady's there. You know what I mean? Like,
Pete Carroll.
Right.
Bowers.
Like, you got a real coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to go, like, try to save Brian Daboll's ass? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know about that.
I mean, look,
man.
I don't consider either situation particularly enticing if I'm
Agreed.
Matthew Stafford, but if I have to choose between them,
correct.
It's the Raiders. Without question, it's the Raiders.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't choose either.
Right. I'd rather just stay with the Rams.
Yeah.
And I bet you the Rams are willing to give him a number. It's just not $50 million or whatever he wants. You know what I mean?
And look, if that $50 million is that important to Matthew Stafford,
then go do it.
Right. I mean, and I'm guessing in his mind, it's a principle. Like on principle, he feels like I'm as good as these other guys.
Right. Trevor Lawrence to whatever. Right.
I mean, sometimes principle doesn't match up with reality. Like those guys are younger. You know, their teams are, at this point, someone like Trevor Lawrence arguably stuck with them. But again, if I was Stafford, 36, 37, and I'm thinking about quality of life moving forward, how much money I already have in the bank, the idea of another potential Super Bowl to make getting up and doing this at his age worth it? To me, the Raiders and the Giants don't sound worth it at all. But again, not my money.
Well, and here's the other part of it. Like, you want to go and play in that terrible weather in that stadium where the wind swirls as you're getting older. At least in Vegas, it's indoors, it's controlled. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever.
In a tough division, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be facing...
I mean, both are tough. I mean, well, the Rams is the weakest of the divisions. Is
right.
What
I mean, that's what I'm saying. You're moving out of a place where you can potentially win your division, have an easier route to the playoffs, through the playoffs, to go to potentially the East, where you mentioned that weather. You're going to be facing the Commanders twice. You're going to be facing the defending champion Eagles twice. Like, sounds like a drag to me. I've never been in the opportunity to turn down that much money, but if I'm still getting paid tens of millions of dollars anyway on top of what I've already banked, I can't picture doing it that way.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. Now, Damian Woody on ESPN this morning, I think he sides with us. So when this Giants story came up, and it started, I believe, in the New York Post, and then, it's kind of spiraled since then. But this morning, early in the morning on Get Up, Damian Woody was asked about, hey, the Giants and Stafford, what do you think? And here's what Woody said.
No way I would want to play for the New York Football Giants. The New York Football Giants are a disaster. We've seen what happened this past year, obviously, with Saquon Barkley, them moving off of Saquon Barkley, he going on to win the Super Bowl. The disaster that was Daniel Jones. They can't protect the quarterback. And, oh, by the way, the front office and coach are barely hanging on as it is. So if you go out there, you're Matt Stafford playing outdoors in the NFC East with all that type of inclement weather. What happens if things doesn't roll your way? That whole regime could be out. Then you could be in a situation where you got a whole new regime coming in. I don't want any part of that instability if I'm Matthew Stafford.
Right. As crazy as it sounds, the Giants, who have been a bastion of stability for, as long as they've been an organization in the National Football League, are by far the most unstable of these options. And again, if you would have told somebody this even 5 or 6 years ago, they would have thought you're nuts. But the reality is this, like the Giants have made the playoffs, once in the last 7 or 8 years, something like that. It's just kind of crazy. And, the Raiders, as bad as they've been, at least you've got stability there in the sense of like, hey, you know what? Mark's going to be the owner. Brady's going to be heavily involved. Like, I'll take my chances with that. Like, you're not going to get even if they say, oh my God, Pete's a disaster, right? And they flip him, like, you still have Brady in your corner. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see that going away anytime soon.
I mean, respectfully to all the Raider fans that I know are listening right now and I'm about to piss off, but your situation with the Giants has to be really bad if we're comparing them and we're saying the Raiders is the obvious more stable scenario, and it's not even close.
People would think you should be committed if you would have said that even 3 to 5 years ago, people would have said that you should be committed.
It's not even close. It's the Raiders, and that's crazy. That's a terrible situation.
But not a great situation either.
But you guys mentioned the divisions, right? Obviously speaking with the NFC East.
Oh, here we go. Here comes that Eagles talk.
No, this has nothing to do actually with the NFC East and the Eagles. This actually has to do with him if he wants to go to the Raiders. Like you mentioned, not want to play against the Eagles or the Commanders. Like if you want to go to the Raiders, why would you want to play against the Chiefs? Why would you want to play against the Chargers, who are going to get better, and the Broncos, who have gotten better as well?
Again, I keep saying, if I'm Matthew Stafford, unless they're like offering me the equivalent of a veteran's minimum or something over with the Rams, like if you're getting tens of millions of dollars anyway, and you have to recognize where you are at this stage of career, yes, you may be better than some of these other guys, but they're younger. Every situation isn't the same. You've already banked stupid money, and you're going to be getting pretty stupid money anyway. The Rams situation seems so much better.
Yeah, 100%. And by the way, I've seen those commercials, man. You already got everything in a trust. I've seen it on TV. Like you and Kelly got that all figured out already.
You've got that. You've got that.
You got the estate plan all outlined already.
Bed where the hot side stays hot and the cool side stays cool. Like
then the bed. Right, you have to move the bed.
Podcast money. Like
who wants to move? Right. Moving is the worst, by the way. On top of that. Yeah.
Plus moving from coast to coast?
Yeah, that's even worse. All right, coming up next, I don't care how much money you have. That's a pain in the ass. All right, coming up next, Trudell's going to be in the house for an hour with us. Let's get back into the Lakers and just kind of see what this team could look like moving forward as it continues to develop, because we're very much only scratching the surface on what this team is at the moment. We'll get into that next.
Don't miss Travis and DeMarco.
It's T-Raj and D-Far.
For your hand, you can get a buff and go and just basically have...
DeMarco. I'm not getting the buff and go.
Well, then you...
It was cool until she said
I'll
buff and go.
take the buff and go.
Weekdays at 9 a.m.
on 710 ESPN.
Hey guys, it's Sedano. At Los Angeles International Airport, changes are arriving daily to help reduce traffic, save travelers time, and transform the travel experience. The LAX Economy parking structure is now open with thousands of smart parking spaces, as well as hundreds of EV charging stations. Modernized terminals have biometric gates for faster boarding, and in the future, the People Mover train will connect travelers to LA Metro. For more information, go to their website, flylax.com/transforming-LAX. That's flylax.com/transforming-LAX.
Hey, it's Mace. Looking for some fun and excitement? You got to check out Chumba Casino. It's 100% free to play. No purchase required. Enjoy hundreds of thrilling social casino games anytime, anywhere, like bingo, slingo, slots, and solitaire. Get in the action. Play now for a chance to redeem some serious prizes at ChumbaCasino.com.
Available only to players in the U.S., excluding Washington, Michigan, Montana, Connecticut, and Nevada, and Canada, excluding Quebec. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
You never expect a Hail Mary pass to win and end the game or getting into an accident. Hey, it's Trav with DeMarco.
Only one all-star defense team you can call to defend you. The personal injury law offices of Joseph S. Normand. Visit normandlegal.com or call 213-747-2000.
Don't get sacked by others. Joseph will help you achieve the maximum compensation you deserve. Visit normandlegal.com or call 213-747-2000. That's 213-747-2000.
Let Joseph and his team score a touchdown for you.
At Children's Hospital Los Angeles, we're a nationally recognized leader in pediatric care, honored by U.S. News and World Report as one of the best in the country. Here, we achieve amazing breakthroughs that change lives. From groundbreaking cancer therapies that offer new hope to young patients, to advanced heart procedures that save lives, we partner with families to conquer challenges and achieve extraordinary outcomes. Choose the best care for your child at chla.org.
710 ESPN, your home for the 17-time world champion Lakers.
KSPN Los Angeles, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
710 ESPN.
Sedano and Kap for your afternoon right now on 710 ESPN.
It's time for what you need to know.
Let's do it. What you need to know right now.
What you need to know is brought to you by Morongo Casino Resort and Spa. Good times. Just 90 minutes from wherever you are. Take it away, Linz.
Thanks, Sedano. All right, guys. So, a Virginia basketball recruit is auctioning off his college commitment for basically like NIL money. So he started a crowdfunding campaign on a website called Fanstake, where basically like fans of whatever team can, quote, like stake money to put towards this campaign. So if I'm like, let's say so he was a recruit for Virginia. If I'm a Virginia fan and I want him to stay there and I want him to play there, I could put money towards this campaign, right? So that's basically what he's trying to do, is just figure out whoever's going to pay him the most money based on this crowdfunding website, and that's who's going to play for. He gets 90% of the NIL money that's staked to that school, and then the other 10% is split between his teammates and the website. And I found that very interesting. Like, that's the world we live in these days.
Here's what I think is really interesting about the NIL thing that I disagree with a lot of people, because I've heard whether people at our station or fans or whoever talking about how, these schools with really rich alumni, they're just going to pony up all this NIL money and that's what's going to get these players. I think it's going to be the opposite, because it's actually a bad investment, because you have no idea if these guys are actually going to stay. Like, who's going to
nowadays,
like, who's going until something is adjusted with the transfer portal, who's going to pony up like 6-7 figures for a guy that might leave in a year?
They got to start making him sign contracts.
Well, you have to have a union first before you can do that.
Yeah, I had this debate with DeMarco. I think it might have even been off air. Just the idea, and DeMarco, I think he's talked about this publicly. Like, he is not a fan of some of the NIL era and the idea of professionalism or being professionals and what that might entail.
I mean, Cappy has the same position, but I would say a lot. I am guessing, but particularly DeMarco, less so Cappy. No offense to his Hall of Fame candidacy in Western Pennsylvania. DeMarco probably could have banked a ton of money.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get a sense that there's any type of like jealousy.
I'm not saying jealousy or animosity.
bitterness.
I'm just saying it's only human to think,
Sure.
well, man, what could I have gotten? You know,
the sense I've gotten from DeMarco is it has nothing to do with that. It's more just about like the setup itself and the amount of chaos that could come from it, like concerns that some of the athletes may not be able to handle it, that sort of thing. But I just feel like at this point, the genie is never going back in the lamp. The toothpaste is never going back in the tube.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to try to, in the meantime, keep the transfer portal from being as out of control as it is and try to like get the landscape in some ways more appealing, I think you have to start moving the contracts and you have to start formalizing these NILs so these players do end up
we'll get there.
somewhere.
It's just going to take some more court cases to get and hearings to get to that point.
I'm all in favor of the athletes getting money, and I think it was long overdue that they could. But I think right now it's so chaotic, it's bad for the overall product. So I think you need to find a way.
I disagree with that part of it. As someone who actually is involved in college football on a regular basis, I will tell you this. The transfer portal part of it and the NIL part of it is, in essence, free agency every year. And the type of traffic people get online with this stuff has changed
that's
that aspect of it in a huge way, too.
But that's not the product. That's the coverage. It may be
right,
great
but I would also say that helps the product when there's more coverage.
Yes and no. I mean, it may. I think it helps in kind of superficial ways. I don't think when it comes to the actual programs and guys constantly transferring in and out, and
so let me flip it to you.
You hear
this way.
fans say that it's harder for them to grow attached to their own alma maters.
Yeah, I'm sure people who say that are people whose teams aren't very good, is what I would say.
I mean,
or have not performed well in this most recent era.
I mean, look, again, I have no issue with – I've never had any issue with guys getting money. I'm all in favor of the NIL. I'm all in favor of them.
Mike, here's my question to you. How is this any different than the way it used to be, other than we just know now?
Because the transfer portal wasn't as rampant. Guys weren't moving out. They weren't going to school to school to school to school. That, to me, is actually the biggest issue. It's not
right, but until schools, here's the biggest problem. Schools, an athletic scholarship, and DeAndre, you may be able to attest to this more so than anyone else here.
Welcome Mike Trudell, by the way.
Oh, and Mike Trudell, who also was a NCAA athlete.
George, this just to cut you off briefly. This is what I'm upset about is that my football player and basketball player friends in college didn't have any money at the time and couldn't pay for me for everything. So that's why
that only happened when you went to NFL Europe, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So what I would say, scholarships are not binding; they're renewable year to year. So how is that any different?
I don't understand what you're saying, though. I mean,
scholarships. If you get offered an athletic scholarship, it's only for that. It has to be renewed every year.
That's fine, but rarely was. But in the
I disagree, Andy. I'm telling you, go look up what Nick Saban was doing at Alabama.
Right,
the reason this happened,
nearly the same degree of movement.
But
then that there
Andy,
is now.
just listen to me for a second. Go look up what Nick Saban was doing in the early 2010s. He was literally telling kids, get the hell out of here because I got a better kid, and not renewing their scholarships.
Absolutely.
And that's what prompted this eventually, is what I'm saying.
For too long, the balance of power was way in favor of the coaches and the universities, and that's really where all this is less about the money and more about power. And I like the idea of the athletes having more power. I have more of an issue with the transfer portal piece of this, and what I was saying before is really just if I'm some wealthy alum of SC or wherever, I think it's a bad investment to be giving around this NIL money trying to strengthen your program, because you could end up with a kid leaving in like a year. The ROI, unless you happen to win a championship that year, is really bad. Like to me, it's bad. It's bad business.
Maybe. Unless you win. And by the way, the schools that are close to winning or that make the playoff, they get a huge bump, and and here's the thing, the schools now are going to have to give these kids a requisite amount of dollars anyway. I believe it's somewhere about like $20 million just out of their own coffers, by the way. That's not even the NIL aspect of this. But yeah, like this is not any different other than because kids the transfer portal just gave kids an option to then not get booted out of their own school because they were recruiting a kid over them. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's why this was put in place, to rectify that situation, which was happening. You know, it was really Nick Saban who kind of created that model. And then many other schools, like anything in sports, becomes a copycat thing, and many schools followed after that.
Absolutely. Look, there, like a lot of things, when something has gone wrong for too long, there can be an overcorrection. And I think right now we're in the overcorrection portion of this when it comes to...
Yeah, it'll get solved, though.
Right, exactly.
I mean, eventually it just needs... I just don't want politicians to get involved. Let the courts figure this out. I don't need, what's-his-face, Tommy Tuberville in Alabama.
You can stop your sentence right there, George. I don't need you to finish it.
You know what I mean? Like, because no offense, Tommy, can we go... We should go back into the records and find out how many guys you were giving money to when you were the head coach of Auburn under the table. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, please.
Again, I'm not looking for any politicians to get involved with this. Certainly not the ones that are just going to be soapbox grandstanding. I'm just saying, I think right now the portal, not the NIL, not the money, but the portal has created, at least to me, so much migration and so little stability in programs that I think it's created in some ways less attachment for a lot of the fan bases, because they can't. They don't grow attached to players because they feel like they're going to be gone in a year.
Well,
anyway.
that's what happened.
They don't grow attached to
that's
players.
What happened to no, but that's what happened to men's college basketball.
Yes,
right. But that happened because the NBA chose. Right, because David Stern didn't think it was a priority.
No, I just mean when guys could leave after 1 year, then all of a sudden college basketball has not been good since. And
correct.
That's all. I think that could happen if you were having less continuity for program.
Yeah, again, like I have no problem with being able to transfer. I just feel like maybe they need to find, I don't know, a limit to how often you can do it, or if you sign. I think if you start signing contracts for NIL money and there's a certain amount of time you have to stay at a program, the money can make worth staying, and then in return there's more stability and continuity within these programs, and players still get paid, which is what I want to see anyway.
Sure, but that means the NCAA has to admit they're employees, and then they do that, and then they have to unionize. And the NCAA does not want to admit that they're employees, although they've kind of been like had their arm twisted into it, because they're going to give them money now anyway based on the most recent court.
You also need like a whole bureaucracy for this to function.
Correct.
As well.
The NCAA's already lost. I mean, like really, they're done. They've lost. Like they might as well just try to create a better thing moving forward, because their control over this and trying to resist the employment piece of it, like that's the least of their concerns.
Well, plus conferences are dead, basically, too.
Yeah, they're done.
Well, here's what I would do. I would just make Chip Kelly said this a year or two ago. Make football its own thing. Sure. Okay? And that's it. And and let basketball and all these sports that have to play multiple times a week, let them go back to their old power conferences.
That'd be interesting.
That's it. Make football its own thing. It's its own thing anyway in a lot of ways, because they're getting the majority of the money.
No, if we're being honest about it, the conversations about college sports are largely football and some little bit of basketball thrown in, the occasional women's volleyball or whatever.
Well, yeah, so when I was in college,
soccer,
of course,
obviously.
I played soccer, but soccer it's basically, to me, it's the separation is revenue versus non-revenue in terms of creating. But the problem with that, so yes, football and men's basketball create the most revenue because of the TV contracts and to an extent the gate. The problem is most of the football programs also spend more money than they actually bring in. So they're not necessarily profitable, but that's still where what the model is for colleges, and it's super complicated to the point where once I started to read more and more about NAL, I just have not been able to fully wrap my mind around it, how that's even happening. And I think that's part of the risk too, is that I'm not exactly a casual in terms of like a sports fan and sports observer, but with all the NIL stuff, you could tell me almost anything about it, and I would believe it.
All right, coming up next, that's the voice of Mike Trudell and Andy Kamenetsky in for Cappy today. Trudell's going to hang out till 5 o'clock. Let's get into the Lakers a little bit. That was a very impromptu NIL college football conversation based off Lindsay's What You Need to Know. Great job, Lindsay.
That's what I'm here for, right?
Yeah. So we will get into the Lakers and just kind of what this thing can look like after a very tiny, small sample size to this point. But first, newsflash, not all personal injury attorneys are going to treat you the same. You get into an accident, you call my guy Jacob at 844-24-JACOB, 844-24-JACOB. Tell him Sedano, Mason, and the crew at 710 sent you. It's true. Some big law firms, they might look at your accident and decide, nah, too small, not worth my time. So what do? They hand off your case to someone with less experience, leaving you wondering, who the hell's really handling my situation? That's why when you're in an accident, you got to call Jacob. Call him at 844-24-JACOB, 844-24-JACOB. Tell him Sedano, Mason, and the crew at 710 sent you, because every case matters to Jacob, and he won't pass you off to anyone else. Think about it. What do you want taking your case and talking to the insurance company on your behalf? L.A. legend Jacob and Ronnie, or some fresh out of law school kid just trying to get by? Don't take that chance. If you're injured, call Jacob. Get the care you need and the compensation you deserve. So call him at 844-24-JACOB. That's 844-24-JACOB. Visit him online at calljacob.com. And by the way, a lot of people still dealing with this. If you or a loved one have been injured or lost property due to the recent wildfires, please call Jacob for a free case evaluation. And together, we will rebuild. Call Jacob at 844-24-JACOB or visit him online at calljacob.com.
Luka put on a show and delivered a triple-double, leading his new team over his former squad.
Luka's three-pointer. Good.
Wow, that's a tough shot.
Luka proved he's ready to dominate in a new chapter.
Luka Doncic's first triple-double as a Laker, and they just keep rolling.
Now the spotlight shifts to tonight's matchup as the Lakers gear up to host the Timberwolves. Pre-game coverage begins at 6 p.m. on 710 ESPN.
Thinking about selling your home? Seller's Advantage makes it easy. No agents, commissions, open houses, or costly repairs. They'll give you a fair cash offer with no surprises. One seller said, and I quote, "Seller's Advantage was faster, easier, and more rewarding than listing my house. The offer matched my expectations, and the process was stress-free." Call 888-390-AS-IS or visit sellersadvantage.com for your free cash offer.
DRE number 01961658.
Don't worry, sell happy with Seller's Advantage.
Why do we grill to order at Waba Grill? Because it's just better for you. Our Asian-inspired menu has high-quality proteins that are healthier for you. Our steamed vegetables and signature salads are made fresh for you. Our sauces are more flavorful for you. From sweet and spicy to fiery hot. Right now, get our Value Bowl combo for only $8.99. Download the Waba Rewards app or order online at wabagrill.com. Waba Grill, it's for you.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs, with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
This is Sedano and Kap on 710.
I'm a cocky son of a like, there's no question about that.
Sedano and Kap continues right now.
Every other video. Happy was singing this song yesterday for some reason. I don't remember why.
I mean, this is my blank. All right, DeAndre clearly trying to get me jacked up for this segment, which I now am. Now, if you sick with see, I can't. It's just a little too explicit. So, anyway, hi, George.
Hello, Mike Trudell, Andy Kamenetsky in for Cappy, who may have the flu. Probably infected all of us, to be honest. Although not me, because I actually took some pill that when my daughter had it called Zafluza that lets you not get the flu for like 3 months, allegedly.
That sounds like you're just saying it in another language, like the flusa. I have the flusa.
Zofluza. I told Cappy to get it. It's not even covered by most insurances. You got to pay out of pocket for that bleep, but I don't care.
I've had my flu vaccine, so I feel confident.
I got that too.
I've been not feeling great today.
Yeah, I got this flu vaccine too. I get that every year, but that's the Zafluza stuff. Listen, man, I don't care what you tell me. If I don't care if it's not covered by insurance, you tell me I'm not going to get the flu for 3 months and get through flu season, I will take that damn pill.
See, Cappy's going to look for some cheaper version of it on the street. Maybe it's expired. He doesn't care, but if it's a deal, that's where Cappy's looking
Right.
first.
Instead of Zofluza, it's going to be like Z-Fluza. Cappy's the guy that instead of buying Coach, bought the Goach. Michael, so we were talking earlier. ESPN Analytics has put out their percent chance to get out of the Western Conference and make the NBA Finals. The Thunder at 58.2%, followed by the Lakers at 12.5%. Then you got Nuggets 8.6, Grizzlies 8.2, Rockets 5.3, Warriors 3.1, Clippers 1.9. And you know what? I'll just keep going. Mavs 1.9, Timberwolves 0.8. So what needs to happen other than matchup dependency? Because I still believe matchups matter. Later you can play certain teams, I think is more beneficial. But what is the path for the Lakers? What needs to happen for the Lakers to represent the Western Conference in the NBA Finals?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's some big reach, as those numbers show. OKC clearly the favorite, and I think that you could make an argument for either the Lakers or the Nuggets behind that. I happen to think the Nuggets do have some real flaws in their depth. Like Westbrook is the sixth best player on their team, or at least the guy that they play the sixth most, and they just don't have a lot behind that. Everybody is now going to blitz Jokic in the same way that the Lakers did. So, like to me, that's not as sustainable to go round after round.
They're going to get some practice at that, to your point. Yes.
Yeah, but they still have Jokic, right? So, like, none of us would be completely shocked if they got there. I'm not as big on Memphis. They've been struggling lately. I think Ja is not quite to the level where it might seem. And their whole key in the regular season is kind of their depth and their style, and they play with this wheel concept that Ja doesn't like. And then the other teams too, like Houston's good but not great. Like Dallas, we'll see once they get healthy, but they're going to be towards the bottom of the standing. So, like, to me, it's a pretty clear path. And, like, I actually think that the Lakers match up decently well with Oklahoma City, because OKC's whole thing is incredible ball pressure on the defensive end, and the two guys in the NBA that probably handle ball pressure better than anyone else are Luka Doncic and LeBron James. And, like, there's still some questions, George, about how they stop a guy like Shea, and can you blitz him in a similar way to what they did to Jokic? A little harder further up on the floor.
He's a little slithery,
like
too. A little more slithery.
That kind of thing. But, like, even the Wolves, that's what they did to get back in the game against OKC in the ridiculous fourth quarter to OT game. They just blitz Shea, and they're like, okay, go ahead, J-Dub. Go ahead, whoever else, Lou Dort. Like, take all the shots you want. So, you know, I think it's a pretty viable path, to be honest with you, George.
We haven't seen the Lakers play the Thunder since really early in the season. It was a completely different team.
And they don't play them until very late in the season.
Right. And I'm really interested to see what it looks like now, because last year, even though the Thunder were clearly a better team on balance than the Lakers and beat a wider variety of teams than the Lakers were a bad matchup for the Thunder because they had so much more size than OKC. Mm-hmm. Yeah. OKC now has more size than the Lakers, which doesn't mean that the Lakers can't beat them. I'm just saying we have no idea what it looks like now. Like
by the way, George, to Andy's point, when the Lakers play the Thunder are going to have the number one seed locked up. They may not play their guys at all.
Right.
And so we may not even find out in the regular season.
Especially if they want to hide things from the Lakers, if they're thinking this could be their second round opponent if 1-4 holds.
And depending on where the Lakers are in the standings, that might be a great week to kind of like make sure LeBron has a day or two. And not that he's needed it, like he's somehow the most energized player in the NBA for the last month and change, which has been incredible. But that would be a good time to get him that last level. And guys, Luka has the fact that he missed all of the games. I get it; it's affecting his legs and his rhythm now. But that could give him more juice than most players come postseason because he hasn't had to put as much of that wear and tear of a regular season on. So a lot of signs there.
My biggest concern with the Lakers and Luka specifically, and even Austin, obviously, to some extent as well, is some of these numbers, okay? Luka, as we all know, this isn't some sort of surprise if you watch basketball, he struggles guarding drives, okay? Nobody has more blow-bys than him, okay? This season, we saw it in the playoffs a ton last year. And, Austin, while I think he's a little better, he's not, it's not like he's some great defender, okay? I mean, I think I have the number here. So players are shooting 46.3% when he's the primary defender, which is 177 out of 250 players.
And teams target him.
Correct. And you're only as good as your weakest link on defense in the NBA now, I think, in the playoffs. That is a real thing. So to me, now the beauty of it is the Lakers have done a really good job of protecting the paint, even with or without Luka. for the most part this season, and particularly since January 15th, where they've been the best defense in the sport. But I just, again, to Andy's point earlier, Mike, and I don't know if you might have been listening at that time.
Long-time listener.
Long-time listener.
He's a P1 over there.
Yeah. It's can they last, right? Having to do this, because it's going to be very taxing to do it without a quote-unquote traditional big man.
Yeah, it's a fair question to ask. I think that the good news for the Lakers is that I don't think they're going to be number 1 for the rest of the season, but let's say they drop off by 10 spots and they're number 10. Great! Like, you're still in absolutely good shape if you're number 10, because guess what's going to get a lot better? The offense. Once Luka Doncic starts shooting better, once he gets more comfortable. And to me, George, that you cited this earlier. You mentioned how big of a deal matchups are in a playoff series. And what I've seen so far, I think what we've all seen, JJ Redick's pretty good at finding the right game plan for the right opponent. And so whatever it is on defense that you're trying to deal with, in this case it could be Luka, it could be Austin Reeves getting targeted, whatever, like they're going to come up with the best game plan, I think, early in a series. They're not going to have to wait till game 4 until they unfurl it. So that to me is sustainable enough. And the reason that I think that this isn't talked about enough, like why did the Lakers defense get so much better? And on the one hand, LeBron has made a big leap, but they exchanged early in the season. It was Dalton Connect and D'Angelo Russell were kind of 2 of the top 5 rotation players. Dalton was starting. Now you have Jared Vanderbilt, you have Dorian Finney-Smith, and you have Gabe Vincent with his legs under him. Like, that is a big difference in toughness and size.
A guy like Jordan Goodwin.
Dude, Goodwin is a player.
Yeah.
And he adds right to that defensive makeup, so I'm glad you mentioned that, Andy. But George, they're not going to be, with no AD, they're not going to have the best defense in the league from a playoff perspective, I don't think. But they can be top 10, and that to me is enough, especially as the offense is going to get increasingly better, I think.
Yeah, look, I'm with you. And look, we've already seen kind of this shift, right, with the Lakers' rotations, to your point. Like, with Luka, there's been a lot of wing players, because the Lakers have a bevy of wing players that are very good at what they do, whatever it is specifically they're meant to do on the floor. Holy moly, I just saw Paolo Banchero just like absolutely annihilate the rim against the Warriors now. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt myself there. But so what I was saying is you've seen a bevy of wing players, less and less bigs, because, well, they don't have very many to begin with. And the ones they have aren't necessarily great.
Their wings are big, though.
Hayes.
Yeah.
What's that?
Their wings are big, though, which makes a difference.
Right,
Yeah.
which is what I was going to get to. And then less like guard play beyond the couple of guys that they play. But yes, they have big wing guys. Like Austin Reeves is the smallest guy who plays regular minutes at 6'5". Yeah, so everyone else, they've got real length to play with, which is again, Andy nailed it. It's very similar to the way LeBron played with Wade and Bosh and those guys, and Shane Battier and whatever, because they didn't have the traditional big necessary to play with.
And no, George, it's a great point, and so I guess I'm saying, Andy, it's a great point as you're referring to. But I also think that that's how Cleveland played in a lot of those runs down the stretch, where LeBron would be somewhere between like guarding the 3 and guarding the 5 in crunch time, and now like Rui is LeBron's size. Luka is 6'8" and is a great rebounder, which is key for this defensive part of it. Dorian Finney-Smith actually defends up better than he defends down. He can go 3, 4, and even some 5s, especially in crunch time. So, you don't – in what you get out of that lineup, too, if you're not playing Jackson Hayes, who's actually been pretty good, you have 5 knockdown shooters.
Yeah.
If you're
5
Rui,
out.
Finney-Smith, Reeves, Luka, and LeBron, none of those guys are somebody you're going to be happy with getting a 3. But guess what? You have to leave one of them, because otherwise you're single covering LeBron or Luka.
The other thing, too, with Luka, like, the defensive questions with him are real, and we'll see how they play out with the Lakers. Although I do think the last 2 games against Dallas and Denver, Luka's defense was pretty good. But whatever is the top end defensively for Luka, I think we're going to get that, if nothing else, for this season, because all he's been hearing is how Dallas had to ship out old fat ass because his body was this ticking time bomb and they weren't going to give him $300 million because all he does is drink and smoke hookahs and he's irresponsible. If nothing else, right now is the time where Luka is going to be in double middle fingers mode and looking to prove everybody wrong.
Luka's hookahs, though, you did nail it. That's a hell of an opportunity for him as an entrepreneur.
Luka, if you are listening, lean into this.
Well, Cappy says everybody listens, so he may be right. I don't know if Luka, I don't know if that Lamborghini's got AM radio, but if it does, if not, he can listen on the ESPN LA app.
Crystal clear.
George, you've covered Luka games before during his run. You've done walk-offs with him. Like, his default mode is FU.
Yeah,
so this, sure. Does that add to this? Yes, but like that's never. Luka wouldn't be who he is if he didn't have the FU already in him. That's the thing Kobe had. LeBron's got it in his own ways. So like that, I've always thought that yes. Does the additional report, and maybe it's coming from two people in Dallas, whereas most people are like, I can't believe we traded him. That's more what I got.
It's not coming from
at
Mark
the
Cuban,
arena.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah, most people at the arena around Dallas were like, I can't believe this. But wherever that's coming from, if Luka needed anything additional, he didn't need to look and find a fan to bring out the extra edge, or Rudy Gobert, or whoever it is, then Andy's right. I mean, he's got it.
Again, Luka's hookahs. Like, it is a cash cow in this city.
No question. It would
happen.
be a hell of a chain, certainly here in the Southern California area.
Trudell gets sent over by Spectrum Sportsnet to hang out at Luka's hookahs.
Luka could do almost anything. The first thing that Luka did in this city was recognize the devastation of the fires, donate $500,000 of his own money. I mean, that was the first thing that he did. And then the Laker fans get to relate to him in a certain way because he is young enough where they can he is our next guy. It's not somebody that, so like, yeah, almost anything I think that he does will have success here in LA.
Radio Tinder is next.
This is LAFC manager Steve Cherundolo.
After a thrilling victory in the season opener.
To a Bobasi, left-footed shot at it!
And then a win in the CONCACAF Champions Cup on Tuesday night. The Black and Gold are back at BMO Stadium Saturday for Game 2 of the regular season.
It's LAFC Season 8 in the heart of LA.
It's LAFC versus NYCFC.
Pre-game gets going Saturday night at 7 p.m.
LAFC!
On 710 ESPN.
And the ESPN LA app.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Hey guys, it's Sedano. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action in the state of California with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awards and winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just got to pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your money. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Guys, Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I get my money as quick as 15 minutes. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. So download the Prize Picks app, use the promo code CAPPY, K-A-P-P-Y, to get a $50 instant bonus after your first $5 lineup. That's Prize Picks. Download the app, use the promo code CAPPY, K-A-P-P-Y. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text KING to 424
2424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone-boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text KING to 42424. That's KING to 42424. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
And it is Sedano and Kap. Around 5:30 p.m. in the Southland Radio Tinder time, we like to play a TV theme. You can follow her at Lindsay Baseball on Twitter or Instagram. Don't forget about our sponsor, Tequila Mandala. Always swipe right on Tequila Mandala. Take it away, producer Lindsay.
DeAndre's never heard of No Doubt. Isn't that crazy?
What? DeAndre, I'm not going to gang up on you because I have spent many, many years sitting on the front of the Lakers bus where Michael Thompson and John Ireland and Billy Mack gang up on me. And if I haven't heard every single thing from 1973.
But this is 1997,
bro.
bro.
I don't care. DeAndre, that's not of his era. Okay, we cannot expect him to know all of this stuff. It is of our era. And
What you know about
No Doubt?
He doesn't need to know anything about No Doubt.
Fun fact, I'm not going to say the name of the school.
She's on like a TV show. Isn't she on like The Voice or whatever now?
Yeah. Do you know who Gwen Stefani is? You ever heard of her?
I do know.
Okay, there you go.
But no, not
DeAndre,
before her No Doubt
DeAndre,
days.
look for Hollaback Girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You know that song?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Well, that was
Okay.
When,
See,
not
Michael,
No
he
Doubt.
doesn't need your help. DeAndre
That-
knows what's up.
yeah, and
Yeah,
that
come on,
was
man.
produced by Pharrell, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Gwen
wow.
Stefani's sister taught my daughter in 6th grade.
Tina Stefani?
That's not her name.
How would you know her name,
He
George?
probably just Googled it.
What?
No, I just
something
joked.
like
Like,
Okay, you just made up
random
Tina.
name.
I was like, that would have been
Well,
amazing.
no, but I got
if you-
worried for a second. I'm like, is there a Tina Stefani? Like,
Oh,
I
yes. No, that's Stephanie Stefani.
I got very concerned
Yeah.
about it.
No, Steph Stefani. Have you heard of her,
Steph
DeAndre?
Stefani would be a great name.
Gwen Stefani's sister taught my daughter in 6th grade. And
What is her name?
Oh, that's Mary. That's Mary Stefani.
Mary, exactly.
That's
Mary
right, that's
Stefani. And the bassist to No Doubt, his daughter went to school with my daughter.
Mitch.
At a different school. Yes,
Yeah.
Mitch Canal.
Uh-huh.
Mitch Canal, his daughter. So
I had
she's
a crush
this,
on him when I was little.
Oh, Tony Canal?
Yeah.
Well, that, I
No,
mean,
Mitch.
all their
Tony.
all of
Oh, no, hold on. No, that's Beto. That's Beto.
all of was about their drama, Lindsay.
I know. That song was.
Oh, man.
The whole thing.
Uh-oh. Trey G just tweeted into the Sedano and Kap Circle of Trust. How about a collab? Luca and Puka's Hookah Lounge.
Ooh.
They already did that.
Wow.
More
They
celebrities. the
tweeted
better.
about them collabing on something. The hookah was not added in, so yes,
Well, yeah, but
that
it's-
would be great.
It's a third word that rhymes, so
that'd
I
be
mean,
great.
you know,
They should do it.
low-hanging fruit.
Exactly. All right, go ahead, Lindsay.
All right, guys. So you may have heard that with the Philadelphia 76ers falling to a 20-38 record, Paul George, also known as Podcast P, which is the name of his podcast, said that he's going to take a temporary hiatus from the podcast because, he wants to prioritize his team getting back on track. Well, Big Perk was asked about that today on NBA Today. And here's what he said.
Paul George is not the only person that should be, taking a break from podcasting during the basketball season. I feel like Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart as well need to take a break because if you're trying to go out there and honestly compete for an NBA championship, that should be your only goal. Anything else outside of that is a distraction, right? I wish I would have walked in the 2008 locker room talking about I'm podcasting through the season or anybody else. It would have been smoke and furniture moving around there. So, again, guys need to keep the main thing. And when you have an opportunity to win a championship, keep the main thing the main thing. Everything else can wait.
Yeah, so speaking of...
Keep the main thing the main thing.
Wait, but when did LeBron and JJ start doing their podcast?
Well, they
wasn't
did.
it during the season?
During the off season,
No,
and they
off-season.
stopped it obviously before the season.
No, I get it, but I could have sworn it happened. Well,
No,
maybe
they
they were
were
doing
only on
during
for
the
a couple
playoffs.
weeks.
They were on, I think, during the regular season. I think Mind the Game happened
Well, I was
during
gonna
the
ask you
regular
guys.
season.
I'm going to look it up right now.
Do
Hold
you
on.
think?
I'm pretty sure it did.
Do you think that players should not be doing these podcasts during the season? Swipe left or swipe right.
So the first episode of Mind the Game was in March 19th last year.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. And since there was some Darvin discussion and people had some words about it, I am going to swipe in the direction of saying that folks can walk and chew gum at the same
Correct.
time. It's not like there are many hours in the day, and all of these players, I'm sure, are very well prepped on their next opponent. The flip side is only just from an optical standpoint, and especially when your team is losing in the case that Paul George is. That I get, where there's memes out there about how he's recorded more podcast episodes than minutes that he's played. So I get from a distraction standpoint, and is it getting to your teammates, all that, fine, I get it. But I would never try to tell a player, hey, you can't possibly handle a podcast while also playing NBA basketball. Like, these two things are not impossible to do.
I just want to
time.
commend Paul Pierce for recognizing when his team is 18 games under 500. Now is the time to start getting serious about winning an NBA championship. Like, now's the time for him to be podcasting. Like, the season's over. Who cares?
Well, yeah,
they're 20 and 38.
And Embiid may not play again this season either, George.
Right. I mean, like, now is the time for Paul George to be doing more podcasts, like 3-4 a week.
Right, that's over. I mean, Trudell's a huge Paul George fan, so I'm sure he's okay.
They're
with
28 games out of first. Like, what's your hurry, Paul?
Yeah, George.
Listen, I don't have an issue with it. Whatever. Yeah. Like, I think he should be doing more. To be honest with you, at this point, to Andy's. Point.
What's the worst that happens? You fall to like 20 and 43?
You probably should have thought of that before you went to Philly,
it's
by the way.
It's a little late now.
Is what I would say. Yeah.
It's a little late now.
Yeah. So, and I think he has like the third most listened to NBA podcast, though.
Podcast P is good.
All joking aside, it's a good podcast.
It is a good podcast.
He does a good job.
Actually, I'll be honest, I listen to a lot of podcasts, but that has never made my rotation.
Oh, you're not listening to that one at 2x speed yet?
No, haven't listened to it.
Well, I feel like I know why.
No, I was never like George. You're exaggerating a bit much on this. I was more in the Paul George aspect. For me, it's more kind of been the postseason.
He's not your kind of guy.
That kind of, no, he's my kind of player. Like in terms of a big wing that can score and defend.
Well, that is Mike Trudell's.
Yeah, he's got kind of player. But to me, that there have been. I don't know that he's always met the moment right in key situations. But he's a better player than some of the guys that I talked to you off the air about. Just saying. He's struggled this year, though. Yeah, he struggled this year, and that contract's not looking great.
Nope.
All right, so as you guys may or may not know, Major League Baseball is currently testing the new automated balls and strikes challenge system with the robot umps. Mm-hmm. And last week in a game, and I guess what you would call a self-deprecating moment, one of the umpires, Mike Molchinski, had to declare. I don't want to say his name wrong, and the whole MLB Network guy.
This is actually a hilarious bite. Yes.
So anyway, here's just like what happened after the call was reviewed. Here's what they said.
Good breaking ball, just misses. Brett Sullivan get a challenge.
Ball call.
Brett has been expert at the ABS system.
Ooh. The call is surprisingly correct. 3.
Funny.
Oh, we told you. Mike Malinsky, one of our favorites.
Oh, man.
Salty-ass umpire.
Yeah, so I guess earlier in the game, there had been a couple calls that were overturned, and so his expectation was they were just going to overturn another one of his calls, so he was a little bit salty about that. So I wanted to ask you guys, just based on like the rumblings and things that you've heard and seen from these ABS robot umpires, do you guys think that this is going to be like? Do you think this is going to work in Major League Baseball? Swipe left or swipe right.
Michael, I'd love your thoughts. You're a big soccer guy, right? Like VAR is obviously incredibly popular. I've seen it in tennis.
Wait,
right?
I'm sorry. Did you say incredibly popular? It's the worst
thing
that's ever happened to a team sport. I hate it.
Popular is probably popular in the sense of its usage. Obviously, yes.
Bro. There is nothing in team sports that I hate more than VAR in soccer. It is the worst. You can't even celebrate a goal until you sort of look over your shoulder and see if the ref is going to look up. And then it could be 50 seconds later that he gets a tweep into his ear and then has to go over to a monitor. And then 4 minutes after that, he comes back and tells you if you can celebrate a goal or not, which is an arbitrary thing. It's just terrible. So the second that Lindsay brought up replay or getting checked somewhere else, unless it's an automated thing, unless it's like the ball is in or out like in tennis or in football.
Tennis is very efficient.
That's fine. If it's efficient like that and it's just there's no actual, but if it takes any more time whatsoever, I hate it.
I love
rack him.
The background of Welcome to the Jungle as Trudell's rant builds and builds.
Yeah, frustrated.
10 out of 10, no notes.
God, I hate this.
Beautiful.
It was pretty quick, though, wasn't it?
Are they doing,
I mean,
Lizzie? Are they
was
gonna
In
do this?
baseball, it was very quick.
Is
yes.
this going to be a thing in the regular
Well, that's
season? Like guys are going to be just AAA. So Major League Baseball. So there's no manager.
yet.
Not
Dave
yet.
Roberts can't be like, oh no, that looked like a strike to me. Beep, and then they go and review it.
Not
yet.
But they're going to be doing. It's not something where they're going to review it. Like, it's going to. They will have already known.
Well, but what if? But how would they know? Because sometimes sometimes it's a curveball and it spins into the zone.
Because they obviously have lasers and the technology. I don't know. They have a strike zone. You know.
Well, you know what? I mean, we've talked about this with football. It should be done in football, but like the UFL does it with the down and distance. Now, the NFL is claiming that that's not accurate enough because if guys are piling on the ball, it's not necessarily the most accurate in that setting. And I'm like, bro, I don't know. It's definitely better than the chain gang. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know.
I don't like the chain gang.
Replay in the NBA is also the most egregious, my number one concern, and especially when you replay something for 2 minutes and then the call is not clearly correct. After that, so just get rid of all of it. We employ referees for a reason, and if they make a call you don't like, that's life. Deal with it. That's what we're going to teach our kids. Like, it happens, and they're doing their best. They're human. Sometimes the call's not going to go your way, and guess what? If it doesn't, then they can correct that in a later call, and that's a way of kind of building the karma back towards the middle. Done.
All right, that's Michael Trudell. We got one more segment with him. Dr. Clapper's going to stop by as well.
Appreciate the support.
I hear Beto laughing in the background. ESPN LA, the Lakers, and BB are teaming up to find the Lakers Gafote, greatest fan of all time. Are you the Gafote? If so, you can win the ultimate prize pack, which includes courtside seats, a year's supply of BB and some Lakers gear as well. Go to the website, LakersGafote.com. That's LakersGFOAT.com. LakersGFOAT.com. Lakers Gafote to learn how to submit your entry.
Travis Rogers and DeMarco Farr.
Back tomorrow at 9 a.m. after Clinton and Friends.
Just watching JJ, I don't think he is so inexperienced that you can mess this up.
Oh, sure he can. I don't think he will because I think he's really good at it. But that's one of the most dangerous things for anybody. If you don't know what you don't know, if you've never been through it before, you can get coached up. You can say, hey, somebody that's been, they watch out. But the first time you go through something, it's the first time you go through something.
Remember, he's got LeBron. That's what I'm saying. I mean, he's of any coach that's ever started their career, I think he might have the most help. LeBron is there. When LeBron walked out, all nonsense stopped. That's something JJ doesn't have to worry about.
JJ Redick is the right man for the job.
Yes.
I have no reservations
about that.
Look at
the card, dial up right play. Give it.
He is the right man for the job, and he has done an extraordinary job.
Weekday mornings at 9 a.m.
It's Travis and DeMarco
on 710 ESPN.
Hey guys, it's Kap. Here's the scenario. Your home is flooded and the damage is severe. Now it feels like your insurance company is turning on you. They won't approve a replacement living arrangement, and the adjuster leaves you in the lurch. Take a breath and call Avner Gatt, one of Southern California's largest public adjuster firms. Avner Gatt knows how to fight back when your insurance company makes you feel like a criminal, leaving you with no hope of getting into your home and getting it all back together. With decades of experience and a passion for helping people, Avner and his family take the call themselves. So whether you have a toilet overflow, a broken water line, a burst supply line, a broken fire sprinkler, whatever the water damage is, you call Avner Gatt today at 818-917-5256, or you go to avnergatt.com. It's 818-917-5256 or avnergatt.com. You call, Avner answers, he says hello. Your claim is our game, avnergatt.com.
Do you have trouble getting in and out of the bathtub? Are you afraid you'll slip and fall entering or exiting a tub? Safe Step walk-in tubs can transform your bathtub from an area of concern to a calming refuge. Call them today at 1-800-731-4558 and save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs and showers are proudly made in Tennessee and offer an ultra-low step-in, avoiding that difficult climb over a traditional bathtub wall. They also offer a variety of therapeutic benefits that may help soothe your aching muscles and joints, increasing your mobility, boosting your energy, and improving your sleep. Safe Step walk-in tubs are designed to easily fit your existing tub space and are often installed in as little as 1 day. Just dial 1-800-731-4558 today to save $1,600 and receive a free shower package. That's 1-800-731-4558 for a free no-obligation consultation and to save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs. Safety never felt so good.
This is Sedano and Kap on 710. Yeah. Sedano and Kap continues.
Really?
Right now.
Yeah, the Eagles. All right, Sedano and Kap, Andy Kamenetsky, Michael Trudell in the house today. And, of course, our friend Dr. Clapper is here to stop by, give us a little Clapper vision. Dr. Clapper, how are you?
Very good. Busy day. Scheduled 17 surgeries this week. I'm going to be busy.
Wow. Yeah, no doubt about that. But, so let me ask you this, since we have you.
Are any of them Joel Embiid?
Joel Embiid, right. I don't know if he's on your schedule, but he's talking about surgery. What do we know about Joel Embiid's injury? Now, he's got a long injury history, but in this specific injury, what are we talking about with a Clapper vision here?
So here's the Clapper vision. 2017, he had his first left knee arthroscopy, not for the big toe side of his knee joint, the medial meniscus, but the most important, the lateral meniscus, the one on the little toe side of your knee joint. 2017, they nibbled a little bit of his meniscus. Last year, 2024, once again, he has a scope. They nibble away even more of his lateral meniscus. So here's a Clapper vision for you. All of the listeners, and there's so many because I love this show, they're riding around in their car, and your brakes are squeaking. You drive it into the mechanic, something the matter. Every time I step on the brake pedal, my brakes squeak. What is it? If the mechanic says, oh, it's your brake pad, that's easy. Let's just give you a new brake pad, which is the meniscus. That's great. But if your brakes are squeaking because you've now cracked the rotor, it's deeper than the meniscus, then you can't keep going and trying new brake pads. The damage is deeper than that. And that's what you're dealing with Joel Embiid. This is not an acute injury anymore. He twisted his knee and it's swollen and painful. Now it's a chronic injury. They tried using a special brace called an unloader brace to change the angle of his knee. He's going to be Lonzo Ball 2.0. He's going to end up with a meniscal transplant or even breaking the bone on purpose and resetting it, realigning it, called an osteotomy.
Dr. Clapper, just curious. So this could be a question about Embiid or really anybody of that size. Couldn't, rather than more surgeries on the line, what about just losing 20 pounds for somebody that's putting that much stress because the body is that big? Like, could that be at some points like a better way to treat something that where kind of like the chronic soreness type thing? Because I just thinking about players like Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett, and their big thing as they got older was to lose weight to try and take some pressure off of the joints.
I remember, it's a great question, Mike Trudell. I remember interviewing the Admiral, and I asked him, how did you stay so injury-free for your career? He said, with my own money, I didn't wait for the team. I did yoga. And then I remember interviewing Chris Mullin. How did you stay so injury-free? He said, Dr. Clapper, I believed in active rest. Think about it. It's like Krispy Kreme. How could you have both? But you actually have to actively rest. And in the case, in your question about weight loss, when you lose 5 pounds overall body weight to your knee, it's like 20. 3 to 4 times your body weight goes through the forces of your hip joint just rolling over in bed. So you're absolutely right. You don't need to lose a lot of weight, but to your knee, it will be massive amount of effect by losing just a little bit. But unfortunately, we're beyond that now. You now have not only damage, here's another Clapper vision. He doesn't just have a scratch in his linoleum on the kitchen floor. He now has termites in the floorboards, the 2x4s under the linoleum.
I recognize, Dr. Clapper, that these are not apples-to-apples comparisons because with Joel Embiid, you're talking about the knee and the bone and stuff like that. But all the talk about Luka and his weight and whether or not it is connected to some of the lower extremity issues that he's had, like the calf and stuff like that. Do you think there's anything that Luka can look at with Joel Embiid and just think, I want to be preventative about this moving forward, like proactive in trying to take – is there something that he can see from Embiid as an example not to be doing or to avoid?
So, again, a good question, Andy. I was a fellow with Dr. Job way back in the day when both Fernando Valenzuela and Oral Hershiser came to see him, both of them with shoulder injuries. And everybody always talked about Fernando's weight and he has to get into shape. He did not want to have an MRI. He wasn't having surgery for the same labral type of injury that Oral had. And the next season pitched a no-hitter. Thank you very much. So I would even ask George, when you watch Luka play, can't you appreciate, or do you appreciate, the efficiency of what he does with his moves, his basketball IQ, the efficiency he works? So weight loss and being overweight, maybe you would hurt his game. I almost would like to play the devil's advocate. I don't think that's what's going on here with Luka, and I think they have lit him up now. You're going to watch this guy go back to the way he was before, because I really don't think his weight, his Mamba mentality makes up for a lot of what they're saying he was, and I don't appreciate what they were saying in Dallas about him. I think he is an ideal weight for Luka Doncic, and everybody needs to leave him alone.
Yeah, but he now looks like he's at his real playing weight, which should be around between 240 and 250, and there were times where he's ballooned past that. So what I would say is, he definitely has had some moments, Dr. Clapper, in his Dallas career where I feel like those things could be correlated, but I'm not a doctor, but it generally tends to be when he looks a little thicker that he's had some of these calf injuries particularly.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes sense. Common sense plays a part, but such an elite athlete, the fine-tuning of what he can do to compensate, I think his injuries are his injuries. I don't really see it because of his weight necessarily, because his IQ is so high.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And he likes being big has helped him. Guys bounce off of him when they're trying to defend him. So.
But watch out for Joel Embiid, because I think what's going to come down the pike is going to be revolutionary.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that, Dr. Clapper. You're the best, buddy. We love you, okay?
Feelings mutual. Thanks so much.
All right, there he is, the great Dr. Clapper.
Dr. Clapper's
Michael,
saying
do you have
everyone
anything?
get off Luka. Get off his
Yeah,
weight.
Dr. Clapper's like, get off his back, basically.
Yeah.
So, Michael, you got anything on tonight's game we should keep an eye on?
Well, so no, you guys alluded to this, I think, early in the show, but the Wolves are a little different from how they looked a couple months ago, because no Gobert, no Randall. I think they probably are going to get DiVincenzo back based on what somebody around the Wolves said, but that's not for sure, but he's the only one that has a chance to play tonight. What they have, though, right now is Naz Reid playing the 5, and therefore they have a stretch 5. And that's just a much different team where Anthony Edwards all of a sudden has space to attack. And I think it's going to be a really good test for the Lakers defense, which, as we discussed earlier in the show, has been great. But, what they haven't seen a ton yet is somebody as a guard that's as big and physical as Anthony Edwards, and how they handle that guy trying to attack in space against a Lakers team that, of course, has been, more focused on the guys like Jokic, for example, Karl Anthony Towns and Brunson, even Kyrie, who's a skill guard, but not just that complete explosive athlete. So I think that'll be a good test for how they deal with Ant, and especially because he'll actually have space this game, which he doesn't usually.
What's interesting, Andy and Mike, is that even despite not having Gobert and Randall, they're still pretty damn big. Like, Jaden McDaniels is not like some small guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's long. And Naz obviously is 7 feet tall, to Mike's point, and can stretch the floor. So they still are pretty long and have some skilled size with Naz Reid, even with their injuries at the moment.
Mike, did you get any sense, because you were talking about you think DiVincenzo is going to play. Anthony Edwards is listed as questionable. Do you think there's any doubt about him playing?
No, they've been listing him as questionable for a while now. Obviously, he didn't play in the All-Star game, but I think he's fine, especially in LA here. Whenever somebody's got the questionable tags, the three of us know, and it's against the Lakers.
TNT,
they're good to go. Yeah, they're good to go.
Yeah, that'll also be interesting too, just to see like how they load up against that type of perimeter player who's going to be really the focal point of everything Minnesota does offensively tonight.
Yeah, and I just think that the Wolves are, like, they still have enough talent, certainly, to beat anybody on any given night. Like, when the Lakers have lost games, and there haven't been many in the last, basically, month, it's been because they came in with a, the last game before the All-Star break, it was like almost like before spring break, or the game before the All-Star break, or right out of the All-Star break when they weren't really ready to get going yet against Charlotte. And like this, when they have been serious about the opposing matchup, they have won and they have played well. And I expect them to be serious about this Wolves matchup, even though they're missing a couple of key pieces.
What I would say to Anthony Edwards, if he is teetering in regards to playing or not, to quote him, actually, to Charles Barkley a year ago, I'd say, bring your ass. Okay?
Mm-hmm. And Luka did bring his ass to the Western Conference Finals last year in Minneapolis, as we know.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Michael, do you have to run now?
No, I got one more segment in me.
I didn't know this. I thought you were done. I was told only to 5.
Well, if it's a 7 o'clock game, then I got to bounce at 5, right, to get over for JJ.
You got a little extra time. We got a little extra mic time.
One more.
Okay, there we go. Well, our 30 minutes nonstop is coming up in a second. And don't forget, ESPN LA, the Lakers, BBGO teaming up to find the Lakers Gafote, greatest fan of all time. For more information, go to LakersGafote.com. That's LakersGafote.com. If you win the Ultimate Fan Package, you can win courtside seats, a year's supply of BBGO, Lakers gear, etc. LakersGafote.com. All right, we're back in a moment.
ESPN LA and Beverly Hills Orthodontics are teaming up because we want to know who's smiling in SoCal. Go to ESPNLA.com and nominate who you think is making LA a better place. This can be a mentor, a teacher, a coach, a good Samaritan, a youngster who brightens your day. Tell us who's smiling and you could win some awesome prizes like sweet tickets from ESPN LA, Sonic Care electric toothbrushes, whitening treatment, and a grand prize of Invisalign from Beverly Hills Ortho. Enter now at ESPNLA.com and remember, you're always smiling at Beverly Hills Orthodontics.
Hey, it's Cap. Is it time to downsize? Selling your home doesn't have to be a hassle. Not with Seller's Advantage. You can skip the agents, commissions, and costly repairs. By the time you pay for repairs and agent fees, you could have already sold your home for a fair, competitive price without the worry of the deal falling through. Here's what Chris Chavez, a real Seller's Advantage customer, had to say, and I quote, "Seller's Advantage was definitely the best company I've worked with. They offered me more than I expected, and the whole process was great. They were helpful, always answered the phone, and willing to help. I can't say enough about the experience. Much better than going through a realtor," end quote. Thank you, Chris. Get your free, no-obligation cash offer today. Call Seller's Advantage at 888-390-AS-IS, 888-390-AS-IS, 888-397-2747, or visit sellersadvantage.com.
DRE number 01961658.
Don't worry, sell happy with Seller's Advantage.
Enjoy President's Day savings all month long at Carden Alleyway Hyundai. Lease a brand new 2025 Hyundai Santa Fe SE for just $299 a month plus tax for 36 months. Plus, enjoy peace of mind driving with America's best warranty and Hyundai Assurance Program. Carden Alleyway Hyundai, just off the 91 freeway, or visit CardenAlleyWayHyundai.com. $39.99 due at signing, 10,000 miles per year. Plus tax, license, $85 doc fee, and registration. No security deposit on approved HMF credit expires March 3rd, 2025.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
710 ESPN.
KSPN, Los Angeles.
A good karma brands radio station.
This is the city, Los Angeles, California.
It's 5 p.m. in the Southland.
Turn it up, man.
Time to blow that 5 o'clock whistle with Sedano and Kappy.
That's right, it's the 5 o'clock hour on Sedano and Kap. And it's time for 30 minutes non-stop.
Sedano and Kap on 710 ESPN.
With fun and frivolity, tomfoolery and hijinks, and Kappy doing his thing, thanks to our friends at Real Father's Rights. Real Father's Rights, the father's rights attorney.
Visit RFR710.com or call 833-ESPN-710.
Let's do it, 5 o'clock in the Southland.
30 minutes of non-stop Sedano and Kap starts now.
You ready for this? And time for the Real Father's Rights 5 o'clock hour on 710 ESPN. Let's do it, Jack!
Beep-ba-da-bop. Boom-ba-da-ba-da-bop. Dun-dun-da-bom. Oh, yeah. Boom. Boom.
Is that enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that enough?
It's like, how long do you want me to go here, George, with this? I mean, Kappy's naturally gifted. at that part of the show, and I was like, do I want to try to be Cappy here, or can I just cut it off early?
No, you can be you.
Thanks, George.
Whatever that is,
Yeah.
you be you, bro. Fit in. Don't fit in, Mike.
Fit
Fit
out.
out. Yeah.
That's right.
By the way, it's a Live Nation Ticket Thursday here on 710 ESPN. Be caller number 7 right now at 877-710-ESPN. You can win 2 tickets to Neil Young at the Hollywood Bowl on September 15th. Tickets go on sale tomorrow at Ticketmaster.com.
Where is Cappy,
All right.
by the way?
He's got the flu.
Oh,
I mean,
okay,
he
that's
thinks.
why you were talking about the
I'm
flu
actually
earlier.
on standby for Cappy tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think I'm in for. Did he know that he was going to be sick next? Because I think I'm in next week for Cappy.
No, I think that was just like
was
he
a
was going to
He's on
take
like
actual time
vacation
off.
or something. Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Did he know he was going to be sick?
That's what I'm saying. Anyway, what's up, George?
What up? All right, so let's talk a little bit. Let's continue having this discussion about the Lakers, and then I want to digress into some football talk after this with this whole Stafford situation and just kind of let it evolve some. Actually, you know what, Mike? Since we didn't get a chance to get your thoughts on that earlier, actually, let's start there instead and flip it a little bit. So Stafford, the newest thing is the Giants, right? Like they've allegedly, connected with him. We know about the Raiders. Andy and I were very open and honest about this. Like, as crazy as it sounds, the Raiders are actually a more stable situation than even the Giants, because the Giants are such a mess right now. But this just seems like, hey, man, I get that the money's not even and that the Rams are trying to be more fiscally responsible, but you want to go to those franchises? Like, you've already played 10 years for a terrible franchise at that time. Like, you want to go back to that? Like, I don't know. Man, I sure as hell wouldn't do that at this stage of my life.
My prediction is that eventually they meet in the middle, and Stafford comes back to the Rams. I think they're like, go ahead, go out and test it, see what your agent can get, see what these other markets want to pay you, but then at the end of the day, the Rams they played the Eagles better than basically anybody else in the postseason. Yeah. They've still got plenty of pieces. They've got a great coach, and I just think that for the Rams to maintain this posture of, we're not just going to give you whatever. Like, we already gave you a great deal the last time, and it wasn't crazy awkward this past year. That eventually Stafford is trying to make sure that he can get as many dollars out of the Rams as he can, and the Rams are trying to keep it a little bit lower, and they'll meet in the middle, and they'll find a deal, and Stafford will be the starting quarterback for the Rams next season. That's what I think.
That seems like the most reasonable answer. But Andy, as you pointed out, it just depends how much the money means to him at this stage, because it will be. Now, again, we're talking about, let's just say for argument's sake, the Rams want to give him $40 million, right? Because that's the going rate for a franchise tag situation. Let's say they give him that. They give him 40, 45 even maybe. Is he going to get 50 or 55 in the open market? Is it really worth it for what ends up being probably 10 or 15 max a year? You know what I mean? I don't know. I wouldn't uproot my whole life for that.
How much does the principle matter to Matthew Stafford? The idea of these guys around the league, I can point to a handful of them that would out-earn me, and I'm better than them. I went further in the playoffs. I have a Super Bowl ring. How much does just the principle of it matter to him? Put aside the reality, the context, where the Rams are, where he is in terms of his age. If it's just a matter of principle, maybe he walks. I don't see the appeal of it if I'm Stafford.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, if he is that principled about it, because he really should not need the money, even if he technically thinks he's worth more, he's still going to make a lot of money regardless. How much is the principle to him?
So let me ask you guys this. Let's just say, for argument's sake, he does walk. He goes to the Raiders or he goes to the Giants. The Rams get whatever compensation they're going to get in return in that scenario. Which one of these options are the options that you think? If these are your options, okay? Jimmy Garoppolo, bringing him back on a small deal, kind of like what the Vikings did with Darnold this past year, $10, $12 million, whatever it is, to be your stopgap for a year. Sam Darnold, perhaps, could be in that conversation. Or Aaron Rodgers, because there's all this smoke now that Aaron Rodgers has said that the Rams are like his preferred destination, which is nice, but I don't know if he's necessarily their preferred or desired quarterback in this scenario. But so go ahead. What do you think? Like, or is there another option I'm not seeing at the moment?
It depends on what is Darnold looking for, because if he is in the Rams' mind kind of a bridge quarterback, you don't want to give your bridge quarterback 3 or 4 years. But if you're Sam Darnold, like, this is the best opportunity to get 3 or 4 years that he's probably had in his career, certainly going back to when he was a rookie. So I don't know if the Rams are actually going to want to offer something that Darnold would take in the first place. If I got to choose between Jimmy Garoppolo or Aaron Rodgers, if I'm choosing in terms of who I think is the better quarterback, it's Rodgers. If I'm choosing between who do I think might just be simpler to have in my house for a year, maybe 2, and we have enough confidence in the players around him to be okay, it'd be Garoppolo.
I have no interest in Aaron Rodgers if I'm the owner or GM or coach of any team. So no thank you. And I will stick with my initial answer, George, in this from a Rams perspective. I just think you're good enough now, and Stafford knows everything. He knows your coach. He knows your receivers. Give him at least close enough to the amount that's going to get him to stay. But do you need to commit to that right now? No. And I get what both sides are doing, and this is like all agent territory to me right now also. Like, maybe Stafford isn't even that mad about it. He kind of gets it, and he's like, well, yeah, but I'm going to play a little hardball because is there a difference for me between $30 million and $40 million, like relative to his career earnings? No, but it's enough to have the to just go through the song and dance for until you actually get a little closer and you meet in the middle.
Yeah,
deep sigh from George.
I don't know what this is going to be an interesting, and this is going to come to a head soon because I believe they have to pay Matthew Stafford on March 15th a $5 million roster bonus. So we're going to get this answer here pretty soon, in 2 weeks or less. So, I don't know what the hell is going to happen here, but I am genuinely curious to see how it all plays out. But I tend to agree with you, Mike. I think he ends up back here.
I think if I had to bet on it, I would bet on that too, just because, again, maybe I'm just having a difficult time putting myself in Stafford's headspace, but it just seems like so much the better option for him. But that interview that McVay gave, what was it, yesterday or 2 days ago, sounded to me like somebody who was really envisioning a future without Matthew Stafford and kind of like rationalizing it to himself or like talking himself off the ledge. It's going to be okay. It's nothing personal. Stafford's still my guy. He sounded to me like somebody who's expecting to be working with a different quarterback.
Yeah. No, I or at least at the very least was open to it. Right. All right. Charles Barkley on Inside the NBA has gone in, has doubled down on his Lakers position. Here's Charles Barkley just moments ago on the halftime show on the NBA on TNT.
You were critical of the Lakers at the beginning of the season because they weren't no good. Do you think they're good now? I think they're solid. I don't think they're a contender. Okay. I don't think they're a contender.
But solid from you is a major upgrade.
Listen, man, they were awful. They were awful to start the season. They've been awful for the last 2 or 3 years, in fairness. Luka is an upgrade, but I still don't think they're on the same level with the Nuggets. And OKC is the best team in the West. I'm not sure they're better than Memphis. I'm not even sure they're better than the Rockets.
Yeah.
Now,
come on.
Hold on. Before you go, there is Charles, as much as I love him, has had a history of getting these kinds of things wrong. Not just with the Lakers. I mean, forever he would
say
the Warriors, jump shooting teams don't win championships. So this isn't like some sort of he gets very entrenched very quickly.
No, he's an entertainer and he's extremely entertaining, but it's just not a serious basketball take. Nobody that's watched the NBA closely would agree with that. And I should say nobody. There's sometimes, George, I think guys that are in other markets don't want the people in that market to be like, oh, you're on the Lakers again, because the Lakers are the national brand like that in the way that the Cowboys or Yankees are. So they might not even mean it. And I think Charles is playing up to that to a degree, but
NBA,
come on.
George, I think you know this because you are as national as you are local in the way that you cover the league and you are part of the league.
Our league.
National pundits hate being seen as somebody who is hyping the Laker train and searching for clicks. And like I hear a lot of people at our own company at ESPN and their podcasts where they will try to sound like they don't want to talk about the Lakers, even though we know they want to talk about the Lakers because it's good for business, but you can't look transparent about it. So you do this dance, but everybody knows the Lakers are good for business, and you don't want to seem nakedly craven about it. So I think sometimes you hear pundits who will try as hard as they can to avoid acknowledging the Lakers are even good, so they don't seem like they're hyping them.
Yeah. Well, listen, I've been, to your point, I've been on both sides of that, right? Like, I remember when LeBron first got here, and I was very critical of the team they built around him, right? Like, Michael Beasley and Lance Stevenson, and I said, what are we doing? There's no shooting on this team. And that didn't go over so well. You know what I'm saying, is what I would say at that particular time. But then I was like, when people were lamenting, oh, we can't trade all of Trudell's children for Anthony Davis. We can't trade Lonzo and Brandon Ingram and all. And I'm like, listen, man, you do that and twice on Sundays, and you're going to have a parade down Figueroa. Now, I was mostly right. We didn't have a parade down Figueroa because it was a once-in-a-lifetime event that actually transpired at that particular time. But you got the championship. So what I would say to you is, yes, you're right, but I couldn't disagree with Charles more. Like, offensively, this team is going to be very good. Defensively, they've already proven, Andy, as you and I talked about, that this is sustainable, I would think, to a point. Like, maybe they do just wear down physically.
Yeah, it's
but
taxing what they're doing.
Correct.
But they can do it.
And in terms of being a contender, like
they are.
outside of Boston, right? You can pick nits at any of the other teams that are contenders. I would include Cleveland. I would include OKC. Obviously, I would include Denver, but I can make pretty good arguments as to why those teams all have vulnerabilities outside of Boston, who has proven that they have.
Well, listen, said that the Lakers stunk for the last couple of years. They were in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
How bad could they have been?
Well, they did stink though for most of that year. They were weren't they 9 games under 500
they were,
at one point?
But they did manage to get to the Western Conference Finals.
I get it.
When they traded Westbrook, then they became a contender.
Correct.
Yeah. Correct. So they weren't a good team up to that point, but even then they were around 500, and then they made the trade, and they were And last year I think they would have beaten many of the other opponents in the Western Conference playoffs outside of Denver and Nikola Jokic.
Look, every team, to your point, has flaws, right?
Yeah.
Boston. The injuries have can get to them.
Their only flaw, George, is that they didn't add talent to a champion.
Correct.
And that doesn't usually work. Usually you get worn down mentally the next year if you don't add to it.
You need the one extra guy or two extra guys that haven't won the title to help push you in that sense.
Yeah.
I think Cleveland, I don't think Cleveland has a lot of warts, to be honest with you. I still think that I still think on the wing they're somewhat vulnerable, although less so with DeAndre Hunter. But I think they're very good. OKC, they seem to have corrected their shooting woes at the very least over the last 2 months. So that was kind of their Achilles heel, but that I still think that can creep itself up a little bit. And then Denver, they don't have the depth that they once had, and their defense is not very good. So, yeah, I think everyone's got a wart. I don't think there's any doubt.
Yeah. So I think that's Charles is less – he's just kind of playing his character in that kind of a comment. And by the way, that's not going to change. Okay, no. The Lakers can win. They can keep playing at this pace, and they'll be the 2 seed. And I don't think he's suddenly going to be like, okay, I was right. It's just part of the bit.
This has been Charles's shtick.
It's his bit, yeah.
Whatever reason, I don't know if it's rooted in anything. Like there could be a 30 for 30. What did the Lakers do to Charles Barkley that hurt him so bad? Or if he just recognizes I get to piss off the most people by saying this because the Lakers are the most popular team in the NBA.
And most people love that take, too, because most people do not want the Lakers to be good.
And anybody who's not a Laker fan, I mean, they probably have the biggest fan base of any individual team, but there are more people who don't like the Lakers. So it works.
Man, I will say this. He also took shots at JJ. And JJ's kind of like shoving it up as you know what right now. I mean, JJ is in very short order proven to be a very high level coach.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, I got a text from somebody today who was like, JJ, serious coach of the year candidate now? And I think maybe it was Stephen A. that said this a couple days ago to kind of put it into the ether. But
yeah,
like, he is. I mean, he's doing a great job.
I mean, I think Kenny Atkinson is going to win it. Although,
Atkinson,
again,
Dagenau's in there again, but
honestly, the guy I would vote for, JB Bickerstaff.
He's been great.
What Detroit is doing. Detroit has won more games at this point in the season than they had in the 2 previous years combined.
Yeah, I mean, they may end up as high as like the 4 seed. In the East, but like that's where it's an interesting conversation too, because Atkinson, there's the equivalency of like the Mark Jackson, and then Steve Kerr came in, which would be Atkinson in this case for Cleveland. Right. But then what JB is great at is making a team, like turning a young team serious. Yeah. He did the same thing with Cleveland. Now he's doing that with Detroit. I go back to 2006 with JB. He was an assistant in Minnesota when I was there, and he's a great dude and can really kind of rally the flag. So. Hey, there you go. Nice. I think the whole point, though, is, and I don't think JJ would necessarily care, but he is now vaulted just into the discussion, and people are recognizing the job that he's doing, and I think that's I don't think that's going to change.
Let's do the exercise while we're here, okay?
Sure.
How many coaches you would take above JJ? Michael, we'll exclude you from
in
this
fact, you know what? You will excuse me because I am leaving. I'm going to go to the arena. But, yeah, always good to be with you.
There you go. Same here, and we'll see you tomorrow, maybe, hopefully. I don't know. Possibly. Anyway, Michael Trudell, ladies and gentlemen.
Took his headphones off already.
All right, Andy, you ready? Let's do the exercise.
Let's do it.
Missoula. I mean, you got to take him. He's he's won a championship.
Yeah, I mean, he's a more proven coach. It's a longer sample size.
Correct. Yeah. Tibbs.
No, I would take Redick above Tibbs because I think eventually Tibbs falls into the same pattern over and over. Which
he just plays guys 40 minutes a night.
Yeah. He's reckless with his players. He is.
How about Nick Nurse, who's also won a championship?
Ooh.
That's a tougher one.
He's
I
a
would
really
take
good
Nurse.
coach. He's a really good coach. Yeah.
I would take. And by the way, I'm not saying JJ couldn't pass these guys eventually. I'm talking about today on February 27th, 2025.
We also, too, I mean, JJ, if we're being honest and I think objective about this, JJ is working with a certain disadvantage against a lot of these guys because we're talking about like a 3-month sample size.
Mm-hmm.
So that if we're being
But I still think this exercise will be fascinating.
Oh, absolutely. Though. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, Jordy Fernandez, you'd take JJ.
Yes, I would take JJ.
Darko Rajakovic, you'd take JJ.
Yeah.
Billy Donovan, I'd take JJ.
I would definitely take JJ.
Kenny Atkinson, I would take Kenny right now.
I have to say.
But it's close.
As somebody that, remember there was a little while Kenny Atkinson was bandied about as a potential Lakers candidate, and I thought at the time, I'm like, I think he's a good coach. He's always struck me as more of like a fixer-upper, like somebody who builds a younger team.
Remember those Nets teams were a disaster, and he made them like good, like solid.
Right,
you know?
As opposed to somebody who takes over a team that has like one more level to reach to be true contenders. Like I'd never seen him do it. He's been really good in Cleveland. I'm giving Atkinson the edge now.
Right. So we've got 3. We've picked 3. We've combined to pick 3 coaches. Okay. At this point, JB Bickerstaff, who we were just talking about.
That's tough, man. Because
that's a tough one. It's a toss up to me, but I mean, yeah,
they have a lot of the same traits, except we've seen JB Bickerstaff do it longer with more teams, and it's not like his Cleveland team sucked. I got to go Bickerstaff.
Yeah, same, 4. And again, that's not a knock on JJ by any stretch of the imagination. But the fact that we've only gotten to 4 and we've now done 9 teams, that's pretty good. Carlisle's won a championship, and Carlisle's an excellent coach.
He is an excellent coach. I would take JJ just because he's younger and you can grow with him more.
Okay, I'd take Rick. How about Doc? I'd take JJ over Doc.
I would 100% take JJ over Doc.
Yeah. So, who else?
Here's a tough one.
Charlotte, for sure, you'd take him over
Jamal Mosley.
Charles Lee.
He's a good coach.
Jamal Mosley in Orlando. I'd take JJ over Jamal Mosley.
Orlando Magic.
I'll tell you, it's tough because I think he's a hell of a coach. I think he's a really good coach.
I think he's very good, but I would take JJ. Quinn Snyder.
JJ. Well, I was about to say Quinn's too intense, but so's JJ.
No, I'd take JJ over Quinn.
Quinn's good. I would take JJ.
Yeah. Who's Washington's coach? I don't even know. How sad is that? Who is the Wizards head coach?
Let me look at this.
Isn't it Keith, like Brian Keith?
Oh, it is. It is.
Yeah.
You're right. JJ.
Yeah.
I'm taking JJ.
Yeah, definitely taking JJ.
Oh, my God.
That's so sad that I work in the NBA and I just blanked.
Dude, he's been part of staffs that I've covered. That is embarrassing.
Yeah.
That's really
well,
embarrassing.
you're not taking him over Spo.
No.
Yeah. All right. So so we have agreed on 5.
Mm-hmm.
5 coaches, and then I added a 6th in Rick Carlisle. That's just the Eastern Conference, okay? So that's pretty damn good, is what I would say. All right? Malone, you're taking Malone.
I would
He's
take
won a
Michael Malone.
championship.
He's a really
Right.
good coach.
So that we've agreed on 6 now. I'd take him over Finch, and I like Finchy.
Ooh, that's an interesting question. You know what? I would probably go JJ just because he's younger. If you believe in him, I'd want the younger guy.
Yeah,
That's
but
tough.
he's in
Finch-
that JB era where it was close, but I
Finch
would
is
take
a good
JJ.
coach.
Yeah, Finch is a good coach. I like Finchy. Dagnall.
I'd take Dagnall. Dagnall
right.
is really good.
Really good. Yes. Chauncey, you'd take JJ or Chauncey?
I would take JJ.
Agreed. Will Hardy, I'd take JJ.
JJ.
Kerr, you're not taking. You're not taking JJ.
No.
I'm not taking him over Ty either, for that matter.
No, I would take Ty over JJ.
Okay, so we have now agreed on 6, 7, 8 coaches. Budenholzer, I'd take JJ.
I would also take JJ.
Doug Christie, I'd take JJ.
Definitely take JJ.
J Kidd.
JJ.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I think Kidd's bad.
DeAndre wants to know what you're basing this off of.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out because
I don't know. I would take J Kidd. Yeah, I would take J Kidd.
I guess
he just coached them to the finals.
No, I know that, but here's what it is. If you
are you still remembering him spilling a soda on the floor? Is that what you remember?
There are some degree of shenanigans that I think I'm just sort of expecting a shoe to drop with Kidd because it seems
he's been
like
really good in Dallas.
He has been really good in Dallas, and it seems like this may not be fair of me. It seems like there's always a bridge that's about to be burned with Kidd, and maybe I'm not being fair to Kidd.
Yeah.
And
How about Udoka? I'd take Udoka right now.
He's been really good.
Yeah, and he got the Celtics to a finals.
I mean, you have to, I guess, keep an eye on Udoka in terms of not crossing certain lines, but he's been really good.
Right. Okay. So we have agreed on.
Google it, DeAndre.
No, I'm just saying, like, what are we basing on? Is it based on right now or like just overall?
Udoka?
Yeah, just because
with the lines.
No, because you said that like he led the Celtics to the finals and stuff like that. But you guys said you take Udoka, but Budenholzer won a championship with the Bucks.
Yeah, but I know too much about Budenholzer and the way players don't love him.
That's what it is too. It seems like Budenholzer, for whatever reason, I've never met him. But
I mean, listen, Frank Vogel's won a championship, and I love Vogel. I would take Vogel. I would have kept Vogel and not hired Budenholzer. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Budenholzer, for whatever reason, seems to lose his players pretty quickly. So that's why I would
Taylor
take
Jenkins is also an excellent
He's a
coach.
good coach.
Yeah.
You guys never answered DeAndre's question, though.
Why would I take Udoka?
No, I'm just saying, like, what are we basing off these coaches
with Udoka?
With JJ, like you saying,
Udoka was good in Boston, and he's gotten a really young team on the same page in Houston. Really
correct.
quickly.
Udoka's a good coach, right?
Yes.
And listen, Boston they could not get over the hump until him.
He was.
I mean, Brad Stevens couldn't get them where Udoka got them.
I mean, they did not want to fire Ime
They
Udoka
didn't,
in Boston. They had to fire him because he crossed lines. Like they
right
needed
with
to
an employee. Right. Had that not happened, if it would have just been regular infidelity, not in
That's
the
what I'm saying.
organization, different story. He's still the head coach of the Boston
They had to
Celtics.
fire him, but it's not like they wanted to fire
Correct.
him. There's a difference.
Taylor Jenkins is an interesting test case.
I'm going to go with Taylor Jenkins.
I
just
am
because
too, because
I'm
taking JB, I'm taking Taylor.
He's
too.
got the longer track record, but JJ could maybe relatively quickly pass him. He could.
Yeah. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I've got 13, and then we're not doing Willie Green or Mitch in San Antonio. Mitch, forgot his last name.
Interim guy.
Yeah. So anyway, so I got 13. You had, so that means you didn't agree with J Kidd or Carlisle, so you have 11.
Right.
That's still pretty damn good.
It's when
he's only been doing it for 4 months.
Forget the idea that he's only been the Lakers coach for 4 months. He's only been a coach in the NBA on any level for 4 months. Yeah,
he was coaching 7-year-olds before this. Yes,
he has been really good, and I will say, as somebody who I was not against the hire with Redick, but I was like there is a lot of projecting what you want onto Redick just because you are working with a truly blank slate. And as much as it's obvious that he knows the game well, he communicates well, he's got charisma, he's got the relationship with LeBron, you still do not know how that will translate as a coach, and this is a win-now team. I think in the first couple months, JJ was making more mistakes, but to his credit, he recognized them. And one of the things I like about JJ, as much as I think, he's a smart guy and he's not shy about letting you know that he's a really smart guy, JJ will not cling to something out of pride if it isn't working or to prove he's the smartest guy in the room. If something isn't working, he'll change it. And a lot of coaches won't do that. And I think that's a really good trait for JJ, and it's led to a lot of improvements over the course of the season.
He's the rare combination of arrogant but yet self-aware.
Yeah.
And I say that as someone who's arrogant and self-aware.
But
I'm a cocky son of a bitch.
I got nothing, George. I don't know how to respond. I mean, you perfectly summarized yourself.
And those on the YouTube audience are seeing my son walk in and just rattle the cages here. Anyway, all right, that is our 30 minutes commercial free. We have Big Deal or No Deal coming up next. Andy Kamenetsky, you and I, 30 more minutes to go as we lead up to Lakers-Wolves tonight here on 710 ESPN.
Luka put on a show and delivered a triple-double, leading his new team over his former squad.
Luka's three-pointer. Good.
Wow, that's a tough shot.
Luka proved he's ready to dominate in a new chapter.
Luka Doncic's first triple-double as a Laker, and they just keep rolling.
Now the spotlight shifts to tonight's matchup as the Lakers gear up to host the Timberwolves. Pre-game coverage begins at 6 p.m. on 710 ESPN.
Next Gen, the official air conditioning, heating, plumbing, and electrical team of SoCal sports fans. Breathe easier with Next Gen. Next Gen is offering ESPN LA listeners a special deal to help you enjoy cleaner, safer air all year long. For a limited time, LA homeowners can get a whole home air purifier, a $1,250 value, free with any heating and AC installation. That's right. Protect your home and loved ones with cleaner, safer air while enjoying top-notch heating.
I showed up at the hospital and was told I couldn't see my children. Then I showed up in court and was told they may not be mine. Then I was accused of anything and everything. Sexual assault, domestic violence, substance abuse, you name it, I heard it. I was forced to go long periods of time without seeing my children. That experience of being wrongfully treated ignited something in me. I can look at a father and honestly tell him, I know how he is feeling. I've been there. At Real Fathers Rights, we care about your family, your livelihood, and your future.
The LAX Economy parking structure is now open with thousands of smart parking spaces, as well as hundreds of EV charging stations. Modernized terminals have biometric gates for faster boarding, and in the future, the People Mover train will connect travelers to LA Metro. For more information, go to their website, flylax.com/transforminglax. That's flylax.com/transforminglax. Hey guys, it's Sedano. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action in the state of California with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awards and winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just got to pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your money. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Guys, Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I get my money as quick as 15 minutes. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. So download the Prize Picks app, use the promo code KAPPY, K-A-P-P-Y, to get a $50 instant bonus after your first $5 lineup. That's Prize Picks. Download the app, use the promo code KAPPY, K-A-P-P-Y. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the A to Z savings event at AutoZone.
Yeah, happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with the rotors.
Free. Really?
Really, free.
Okay, I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah, how much is that?
Free with 5 quarts of oil.
Free? Really?
Really, free. It's part of the A to Z savings event.
You might as well call it A to free.
At AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Travis Rogers and DeMarco Farr.
Back tomorrow at 9 a.m. after Clinton and Friends.
Just watching JJ, I don't think he is so inexperienced that you can mess this up.
Oh, sure he can. I don't think he will because I think he's really good at it. But that's one of the most dangerous things for anybody. If you don't know what you don't know, if you've never been through it before, you can get coached up. You can say, hey, somebody that's been, they watch up. But the first time you go through something, it's the first time you go through something.
Remember, he's got LeBron. That's what I'm saying. I mean, he's of any coach that's ever started their career, I think he might have the most help. LeBron is there. When LeBron walked out, all nonsense stopped. That's something JJ doesn't have to worry about.
JJ Redick is the right man for the job.
Yes.
I have no reservations
Look at
about
the card, dial up right play. Give it.
He is the right man for the job, and he has done an extraordinary job.
Weekday mornings at 9 a.m.
It's Travis and DeMarco
on 710 ESPN. This is Sedano and Kap on 710.
I'm a cocky son of a like, there's no question about that.
Sedano and Kap continues right now.
All right, time for Big Deal or No Deal. Take it away, Linz.
All right, George. During that break, some madness going on here back at the studio. We got brand new chairs for all of us.
Big deal.
Big deal or no deal?
Big deal.
Very exciting, George. These are
They move up and down. They like
move
you
up
move
and
back
down.
a little.
We are, by the way, Lindsay, DeAndre, we are the first to use these chairs in the new chair era of ESPN LA 710.
That's right.
Wow. I'm kind of jealous.
Well, I can do the whole show like this.
Like you're in a lowrider.
Stick my feet up. Pretty comfy.
They are comfortable, George. You've got a treat waiting
Nice.
for you.
I'll see him tomorrow.
All right. Big deal. So very big deal here on the chairs. All right. So I'm sure you guys heard about this. There's a little bit of a altercation, I guess you could call it, between Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports and Ian Rappaport of NFL
So
Network.
I only saw the headline, so give me the details on this.
So I guess they were at the Marriott in Indianapolis.
JW Marriott in Indy, yes.
For the Combine. And they were at a Starbucks inside said Marriott.
Irony.
Right. This is so I've been to this said Starbucks. It's like on the second floor. It's like a big meeting space. Like it's a big area in the hotel. Like there's tons of tables, obviously, in the Starbucks and then outside the Starbucks. There's a lot of space for a lot of different people.
And Jordan Schultz is the son of Howard Schultz. Correct?
Right. Right. He is. Right.
So it is
Who
truly,
the
I mean, it's a little on the nose that this would happen in a Starbucks.
Correct. Like that. Yeah, he's the son of the creator of Starbucks.
Yes.
And then he works for Fox Sports as like an NFL insider. And then Ian Rappaport is at the NFL Network. All right. So what were they beefing about? Was it their Matthew Stafford reporting?
Yeah, more so like, yes, the Tom Brady aspect of it. So according to the reports, Jordan Schultz approached Ian Rappaport and was like, hey, man, we need to talk. Because I guess he reported that Tom Brady hosted Matthew Stafford at his home while they were skiing in Montana. And Ian Rappaport kind of shot back and said, hey, guys, it wasn't really all that. It was more like they bumped into each other, which then Jordan Schultz said, if you believe that these two guys, quote, ran into each other at this particular ski lodge or whatever, on this mountain in the middle of Montana, then I want to sell you an island somewhere, blah, blah, blah. So I guess that's kind of like where the beef and the tension started. And so I kind of want to ask you guys, have you ever had any beef with anyone else in the media before?
Oh, I mean, Cappy, we've documented.
Oh, Cappy's got a whole list of them.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
legitimate list. But you guys.
Radio Michael has a list of people for Cappy, including most recently Joe Fortenbaugh.
Right,
So there's
exactly.
that.
but you guys are both.
Oh well,
very
I mean, remember I
agreeable.
told you Darren Ravel, like we're not having him on this show. Like even as a joke, like I don't want Darren Ravel on. Like he's like. It's,
But is that a
come on.
beef or is that more like you
Not
know?
a beef. It's just more of like a stance for me. Is there a beef? I don't think I beef. I used to beef a lot with people back in the day, like in surprise, I'm sure. But as I've gotten older, like I've gotten less into that stuff. When I was just doing sports radio, and there was a lot of testosterone going on in sports radio, I was kind of like I fed into that a little bit. But ever since I've kind of diversified into the television world, there's really been not much of that, if anything at all. You know, I mean, there's people I would prefer not to work with.
Yeah.
And that's not a personal thing. That's more of a professional thing.
But you don't have anyone you
not a
ever like
beef.
called out on the air or anything. They were like, like Cappy's situation.
No, I let Cappy handle all the beefs these days. I got to be honest with you.
He's got enough for both of you.
That's true.
I mean, for like 10 people. What are you talking about?
Basically from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., Cappy's got enough beef to supply all three
I mean,
shows.
Mason's got the one with Hartman, right? We know that.
Yeah, I feel like Mason
I
has
don't
a
know.
couple.
I'm sure somebody has a beef with me that I may not know about, like Cappy did with Fortenbaugh, at least initially, you know?
How about you, Andy?
There was an AP writer who is he
Oh.
was no longer with us, but he.
So you killed the guy.
Oh no, we had nothing to do with it.
I'm kidding.
But he was very dismissive of Brian and I when we were first getting started, and we were.
Oh, there's a lot of that.
We were doing
writers.
yeah,
Writers hated electronic people forever. That was a real thing.
And we were doing the LA Times blog, and it was when we were covering both the Dodgers and the Lakers. And I remember one time, I think we asked a question or something, and the question was, I just got a text from Beto. He knows exactly both what I'm talking about and who I'm talking about. But we got a we asked a question. I think it might have been like a funny question or something, and it cracked up the people around that this AP writer did not like. And he just looked at us and just said, bloggers. Bloggers.
I feel like, so in my experience, I covered the Cavs and the Indians back when I lived in Cleveland. And I was telling Parker from social media about this, that I have always felt that the MLB writers are a lot less welcoming and a lot less friendly to new people because they have like their little cliques and they don't want anybody to infiltrate it whatsoever. So they're very cliquey. It's very like cool kids at the lunch table type of thing where they don't like to let new people in. In my experience, NBA writers have always been a lot nicer and welcoming and helpful.
Baseball's the worst.
Yes.
Not friendly at all.
Yes, they make you feel like you're just by being there, you're like
Super not friendly. I'm not
Right.
going to say I didn't meet any really nice
Oh, yeah.
writers among the baseball media, but in terms of the NBA and the NFL and baseball, there is no doubt that baseball was the least friendly of the three, and it wasn't even close.
Yeah, exactly.
Hands
By quite a bit.
down.
Yes.
Hands down.
I have
It's
my
not
first
even close.
encounterment on
Oh,
social
yeah.
media.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, with
Oh, yes, that's right. The reporter from one of the local news guys.
Oh, that's right. The
Yeah.
guy from Channel 11?
I think so.
Yeah. He started beef with you.
He said what's up to me the other day, and I was like,
You
yo,
should've
what's
been
up?
like,
And
"Hey,
then
man."
after I walked past him, I was like, oh, man, I should say something to him about DeAndre, man. I don't know.
Should've.
But I did take up for you on Twitter that day.
You did. I appreciate you.
Next time you see him, be like, come on, man. Don't mess with DeAndre. He kick
No,
your
Cappy
ass.
needs to say, come on, Andy.
Come on, Andy.
All right, so next one here on Big Deal or No Deal. So you said this in our group chat, George, but this was quite an interesting story to me. Nestor Cortez talked to The Athletic. He's obviously he pitched for the Yankees last year, and he's the guy who gave up Freddie Freeman's grand slam in the World Series, and he's not pitching for the Milwaukee Brewers, so he's no longer a Yankee. However, reflecting back on the World Series against the Dodgers last year, Nestor Cortez said that he said, quote, we were the better team, but at that moment, they showed they were the better team. So, do you guys think it's a big deal or no deal that he's still claiming that the Yankees were better than the Dodgers, despite the Dodgers winning the World Series?
And listen, I like Nestor a lot. I do. I actually we have like mutual friends, and we've like communicated through this mutual friend, and I like him, but I can't agree with this. This is, this is not new in sports where a team loses like in a playoff situation and says, "Oh, we were the better team even though we lost." Like that's not a new thing. I mean, hell, I've heard Michael Thompson talk about it, when the Lakers lost at times. So I don't think it's new, but I don't agree with it. Like, come on, you guys lost in 5, man.
I feel like it's one thing, honestly, in the NFL because it's like
one game sample.
One game, right? But like, if you're playing a 7-game series, can you really say that you were the better team if you didn't win that 7-game series?
I mean, I could maybe make the case if you like lost in 7. You know what I'm saying? And it was like a close game in Game 7, because then you're talking about a couple possessions here or there could have been different. But in a 5-game series,
here's what's weird. I mean, look, it's no big deal because Cortez can say whatever he wants. Who cares? It doesn't.
He's not even on the
change
Yankees
anything.
anymore. He's on the Blue Jays now,
Right,
I believe.
No, he's on the Brewers.
Brewers.
Oh, Brewers. Sorry.
Like I prefaced the convo with.
But
I'm sorry. I thought it was Blue Jays.
I said it twice.
His explanation, though, for this, we had done enough to win that game. Talking about the Game 1 loss that they, I believe, didn't. He's the one.
He
that
gave up the grand slam.
Right. We had done enough to win that game.
And he, by the way, to his credit, he's a guy who's normally a starter, but he had been injured, so they used him in relief, which is not normal for him. So I get, like, if he went into those kinds of depths, I can understand, like, hey, that was not my normal way I play.
Okay, we had done enough to win that game. They can talk whatever they want to talk, but
I mean, they won in 5.
Right.
This isn't even a discussion.
It goes even further. He goes, but if we win Game 1, which we should have, we lost 2 and 3. We win Game 4. We should have won 5. Then we go back up to
you should have, but you melted down.
Like, what are we doing here? Like, basically, so in other words, if we had done none of the things that we did that led to losses, then we sweep the Dodgers. Like, wait, what are we talking about?
He's living in an alternate universe.
Yes, on Earth 2,
Right.
they were much better than the Dodgers.
I will say
this is on Earth 1.
I get it because Nestor Cortez, I live in an alternate universe where I truly believe that the 2016, is it the 2017 NBA season, the year after the Cavs won the NBA championship, that if the Cavs won Game 1 of the NBA Finals, that weird last couple minutes where J.R. Smith didn't know how much time was left on the clock, and the whole LeBron meme.
They're not winning that series
I'm just
without
saying,
George Hill as their starting point guard. What are you talking about?
Once again, I'm just saying I live in that same alternate universe that he lives in, where I think that would have changed the entire landscape of the NBA for the next 10 years.
Yeah,
if
if Kyrie was the point guard still, you know what I mean? But like George Hill was the starting point guard.
Well, it's crazy because
who, by the way, missed a big free throw down the stretch too.
Well, it's crazy because Michael was sitting with Ireland and was saying that how the year where Kevin Durant got hurt in the finals against the Raptors and how
that one I will give him.
Now is that
because him and Clay both got hurt?
So that year the Warriors were definitely the better team, right, than the Raptors?
Correct.
But that's different. When you're talking about we did not have our whole team, that's a difference. Like if you want to say we were a better team, but we lost too many key guys, or like the way Michael, I think, has talked about in 91 when they lost to the Bulls. Like,
okay, I could say the same thing about 2015 Cavs when they didn't have Kyrie or Kevin Love for the finals.
Well, but they hadn't really done it yet. You know what I'm saying? And I know the Warriors hadn't either.
But that's at least a reasonable claim. Like, we were down our second and third best player, and it dramatically changed who we were.
It's definitely a better one. There's no doubt.
It's a better argument than if we had just not bleeped up 20 different times, we win this series.
If we didn't just, period, play better.
I mean, like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, because I'm looking at this roster the last year LeBron was there when that series happened. And it's...
I'm talking about, though, in 2015, the year before.
Oh, no,
they won
but the first one you said was the J.R. Smith game.
I thought that let the air out of the balloon for, like, the rest of the series, and it was over.
They got swept.
It was over. Right, that's why I said they let the air out of the balloon, and it was over from there.
Well, LeBron broke his hand, allegedly.
Yeah, and he probably
after the J.R. Smith game.
Exactly. He probably wouldn't have done that because he wouldn't have had anything to punch because he wouldn't have been mad, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess he's still not winning the series if George Hill's his best player. Or starting point guard or whatever.
I guess we'll never know.
No,
I feel like we know.
We know.
Not in Nestor Cortez's world.
Maybe the Kyrie Love one in the the first year I'll give you, but yeah.
That one is definitely.
Well, I don't know about definitely either. Nothing is definite. Let's relax.
Okay, we'll go like 95% on that one. Even Michael said that they would have won that one. He said they were the better team before the Warriors got Durant, and if they would have had.
I mean, that Warriors team was pretty damn good too, though, is what I would say.
Okay.
That 14-15 Warriors.
I mean, the Cavs still won 2 games with they had like Tristan Thompson and Matthew Dellavedova
Delhi.
Right, but how many times have you seen in a basketball game where teams who are undermanned win a game here or there? Like, that happens for sure, and especially on the biggest stage there is. You think LeBron was shooting the ball like 40 times a game.
Right, and they didn't have Kyrie or Kevin Love, their second and third best players.
Right, but LeBron was clearly the best player on the planet then. Like, he was like in like
that was the year that there were people talking about that LeBron should have won MVP even though they lost.
Yes.
Even though they lost,
Yes.
right? Like a Jerry West situation. Yeah.
Right, so you can't tell me if they had Kyrie and Kevin Love that they probably wouldn't have won.
Maybe, but what if Kyrie and Kevin Love bleep the bed?
I guess we'll never know.
Whoopie-doo.
You know?
That was the year of Max Kellerman's famous, "Give me Iguodala.
Iguodala.
I want Iguodala."
Steph is wearing that shirt the other day when they retired his jersey.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, that's big deal or no deal. All right, we've got Dealer's Choice coming up next. Dealer's Choice will be brought to you by our friends at Sellers Advantage. Want to sell your house? Before you call an agent, call Sellers Advantage. They'll buy it as is with a competitive cash offer, no repairs needed. They make selling easy. Call 888-390-AS-IS for a no-obligation offer. Visit sellersadvantage.com as well. All right, so Dealer's Choice is up next. It'll be Andy's Dealer's Choice. Final segment before we turn it over to Beto and Michael for the pregame here on 710 ESPN.
This is LAFC manager Steve Cherundolo.
After a thrilling victory in the season opener.
To a Bobacy, left-footed shot at it!
And then a win in the CONCACAF Champions Cup on Tuesday night. The black and gold are back at BMO Stadium Saturday for Game 2 of the regular season.
It's LAFC Season 8 in the heart of LA.
It's LAFC versus NYCFC. Pre-game gets going Saturday night at 7 p.m.
On 710 ESPN.
And the ESPN LA app.
Hey guys, it's Cap. Here's the scenario. Your home is flooded and the damage is severe. Now it feels like your insurance company is turning on you. They won't approve a replacement living arrangement and the adjuster leaves you in the lurch. Take a breath and call Avner Gatt, one of Southern California's largest public adjuster firms. Avner Gatt knows how to fight back when your insurance company makes you feel like a criminal, leaving you with no hope of getting into your home and getting it all back together. With decades of experience and a passion for helping people, Avner and his family take the call themselves. So whether you have a toilet overflow, a broken water line, a burst supply line, a broken fire sprinkler, whatever the water damage is, you call Avner Gatt today at 818-917-5256 or you go to avnergatt.com. It's 818-917-5256 or avnergatt.com. You call, Avner answers, he says hello. Your claim is our game, avnergatt.com.
You never expect a Hail Mary pass to win and end the game or getting into an accident. Hey, it's Trav with DeMarco.
Only one all-star defense team you can call to defend you. The personal injury law offices of Joseph S. Normand. Visit normandlegal.com or call 213-747-2000.
Don't get sacked by others. Joseph will help you achieve the maximum compensation you deserve. Visit normandlegal.com or call 213-747-2000. That's 213-747-2000.
Let Joseph and his team score a touchdown for you.
We expect our information in real time. US Med carries continuous glucose monitors, which provide real-time readings of blood glucose levels. US Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 500 private insurers. So call 888-665-0696 today for a free insurance and Medicare benefits check as easy as... That's 888-665-0696.
When you switch and save with Progressive, you could use that money towards scoring courtside seats for your favorite team. Progressive cannot guarantee that you can score courtside seats. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds on average, but courtside seats can be astronomical. Maybe if your team plays in a smaller market, you could swing it. Even still, it's unlikely. Maybe fourth row, which are still incredible seats that you'll enjoy greatly. Savings possible. Courtside, long shot. Switch and see if you could save at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance and Affiliates. Not available in all states. Progressive cannot guarantee.
I'm Doug Hopkins.
And I'm Damon Lyons.
And we want to buy your house.
After 30 years and more than 20,000 transactions, Sellers Advantage knows how to get you more for your home.
No agent fees, no commissions, just an as-is cash offer.
Call Sellers Advantage or visit sellersadvantage.com.
Testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text STREAK to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text STREAK to 321-321. That's STREAK to 321-321.
Final segment of the show. Want to thank everybody who stopped by today. Dr. Clapper, of course, Michael Trudell, who came in for about 75 minutes. AK in the house for Cappy. Fun show today, as always. Coming up next, Beto and Michael will have your Lakers pregame show as the T-Wolves and Ant come to town here. Sucker.
All right. Are we ready for the, what do we call this? Dealer's Choice?
Dealer's Choice is all yours, buddy.
Okay. I'm not sure if you saw this, George, but Hooters, the short wing staple, has filed for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And
wow, Lindsay worked there at one point.
Lindsay?
I did for a while.
I did not know that.
By the way, the correction, everyone thinks Hooters in general is filing for bankruptcy. They actually have a cluster of different franchises, and it's only the Atlanta-based stores and their group right there. So, like, they're still going to have the original Hooters down in Florida, Miami, the ones out here, if they still have the one in Long Beach, those are not all affected. So it's one little group, but anyway, carry on.
Well, I mean, first of all, Atlanta, because I'm about to mention an NBA player, Atlanta is a hotbed
That's
for
true.
a lot of Atlanta players. They take their time in Atlanta seriously. Devin Booker tweeted out upon seeing this news, "Please don't go at Hooters."
Wow.
Devin Booker has long time been known as a big Hooters aficionado.
They have delicious buffalo shrimp and wings.
In 2012,
They are good.
He tweeted out, "I'm thinking Hooters tonight with the fellas." So he's got,
With the fellas.
With the fellas. So he's got like over a decade of bona fide Hooters fandom under his belt. I noticed Devin Booker has made almost $400 million between what he's already banked in the NBA and what he's owed down the road contractually. And that's not even counting endorsements. I feel like Devin Booker should put his money where his mouth is. He's got the income to save Hooters. Come on, Devin Booker. Like this is your cause. Like this is the charitable cause that you want to get behind, your philanthropy. Save Hooters, Devin Booker.
Yeah, I mean, if you got it, dude, you can pull it off for sure.
It's hard to own a restaurant, though.
It's
hard.
the business that fails the
Right,
most, right? Like
exactly.
80-something%.
Yeah, they're tough to keep. And I will say, as somebody again who worked at Hooters, the one that I worked for one up in in Ohio, and then I worked for one down in Florida. The one in Ohio, those people did not know what they were doing. They did not know how to run a restaurant. Whereas the one down in Florida was run like a well-oiled machine.
A lot of rich people get involved with restaurants as an investment, and they figure because they've been successful in these other lines of work, how hard could running a restaurant be? It's largely manual labor. I can do this because I've made a lot of money somewhere else. It's really hard.
Hard work.
Super hard.
Yeah, incredibly difficult. I don't think there's any question. Being a restaurateur is maybe the single hardest venture you can get into business-wise.
I always thought that being like a restaurant manager is one of the most thankless jobs and one of the toughest jobs because you get paid salary. You're definitely not only working 40 hours a week, and a lot of times you have to sacrifice a good chunk of your family life if you have kids because you got to work at night or like late afternoon when the restaurant is busy, always working on weekends, still open on holidays for the most part, and you have to control a lot of these for the most part often younger people who it's one of their first jobs or they just really don't give a bleep. And as I worked in restaurants for 15 years, and it's tough. It's tough, and I always thought the manager has it the worst because they don't get paid overtime most of the time. They have to deal with all the personal work-life balance, and it just sucks.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I will say this. The one thing I think, LA could use more of, and I guess Barney's Beanery falls into this because there's a lot of locations for them. But, I feel like there's not, a great, local chain sports bar beyond them, is what I would say. Like in a lot of other cities, there's usually at least 2, maybe even 3 in some cases that compete against each other.
I'm trying to think. There used to be a couple places I would go, but I'm not sure they exist anymore. And there's
Right.
definitely not like the closest thing to a chain in LA that I remember was actually Hooters.
Yeah, well, but I mean more localized, right? Like Barney's Beanery would be a localized version of a sports bar chain. And I feel like that's the one thing that I would love more of in LA, although I do like the individual businesses, don't get me wrong. Like, I certainly love those and support those. But it is interesting that that particular business is not as,
Is somewhere like Q's, that pool hall where they used to have, is that still around? Like, I have no idea. I know there was a couple in West LA, but they used to have a ton of TVs there.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of, there's a lot of mom and pop places, don't get me wrong. And again, I love those places, so.
I remember when I lived down here, I heard there was going to be a restaurant chain. It's a smaller chain, opening across the street from Crypto, over there by that, next to that hotel, that Moxie Hotel. I don't think they haven't opened yet.
The ESPN zone used to be the place for all that
Right,
stuff.
that was right there. It was where the Smash Burger is now and Tom's, right? That was basically that whole area was the ESPN zone many, many years ago. All right, we're done here. I have 2 children waiting to give me their issues, whatever issues they may have with each other. This is also part of the downfall of me doing a show from home. So they are right now not thrilled with each other, and I apparently have to resolve this here momentarily. So great job, everybody. And thanks to Mike for stopping by, Trudell for hanging out with us for an hour and change, Dr. Clapper. Andy, great work, brother. Thank you so much for sitting in, okay?
Thank you, man.
You got it. Lindsay and DeAndre, excellent work. The guys in the back doing all the video and the social stuff. The COT, great job. Beto.